was what looks to be the Lux.
Yeah, we've had a lot to catch up on. The basic idea here is that both teams went for target bans instead of meta bans. Wukong, of course, disabled right now in Risen as well as in pro play and amateur play. Everywhere, the champion is simply too strong, so that's why he's not popping up. But other than that, it's a lot of target bans. The Yuumi goes for Baby Rope Bunny, the Thresh for Sad Lantern, you might imagine Thresh main. So, interesting team comps coming down. I have to say, Nunu's Irakan and Cassiopeia, a much stronger team fight comp to start off with than what we're seeing from Rawr. Trundle, Alawi, Senna, and Lux, all kind of trying to do different things all at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see how they try and pull that one out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to be running through with Rawr completing the roster, because as you said, right now, there isn't a lot of cohesion in how they're looking to play this one out. You've got some late game, kind of looking into the Senna there, where she excels into the mid, or Alawi, who wants to be deep into the middle of a team fight, or taking and absorbing a lot of pressure, versus something like Trundle, which may counter pick something like a tanky option like Mordekaiser that was just thrown out there. But either way, across the board, in comparison, like you said, to Dirty Diet Lizard, it definitely looks like they're a bit over the place when it comes to their win condition.
Yeah, and interesting to see, though, the Mordekaiser picked into the Trundle.
Yeah.
There's a very fun interaction with those two champions, where as long as Trundle holds on to his ultimate until Mordekaiser ults him, Mordekaiser steals Trundle stats, and then Trundle steals those stats right back. So Trundle, very, very strong into Mordekaiser. He actually really likes those fights almost all of the time. Especially if he's jungle with a red smite, there's just no way for Mordekaiser to win that fight. It makes Trundle ganks very powerful into Mordekaiser, especially considering immobile. So that's the one spicy pick from Dirty Diet Lizard that I'm not so sure about. But overall, I think their team makes a lot more sense. They have some engage with Rakan and Nunu. They have a lot of teamfight DPS with Cass and Xayah. They have some frontline disruption with Mordekaiser. They basically just want to run at Rawr and then fight them.
On the other hand here, Rawr, and speaking of spicy picks, like you just said, they come through with the Aurelion Soul. Gonna go mid lane in my personal perception there. I have not quite actually seen the dragon grace itself onto the rift, so it's a bit more of a personal pick. You got to be quite skilled there, but getting back to the whole concept of what they're really looking to do, they do have some strength in making some picks happen if they get someone isolated, but other than that, I don't see any other optimal kind of pathing for Team Rawr.
Yeah, the Aurelion Soul is really interesting because Not Feeney anymore has never played that champion. We cannot find that in their match history and ranked. So this is going to be, as far as I can tell, a first-time Aurelion Soul. It's a surprise pick to the cast. It'll certainly be a surprise pick to the opponents. And
Hey,
I
you don't
agree,
know.
it's not a great pick in general. I haven't really seen it show up ever anywhere in the last couple months.
Well, I will say it does exude a lot of pressure and kind of control around the map or into some of these lanes if you get one of those appropriate lane ganks coming in with Comet. So I definitely could see that being and making a heavy impact. But other than that, it does take a lot of self-skill. And running into that Cassiopeia there, he's going to have to put up with a lot of scaling DPS as the game goes on. So I don't quite know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I would say just from a first look that I would give this draft to Dirty Diet Lizard. Their comp is straightforward. Rawr's comp is trying to do a few too many things at once. Like Lux and Asol kind of want to. Well, Lux wants to sit back. Asol wants to be in the middle of things. Alawi wants to be engaged into. Trundle likes split pushing and just ulting tanks. And Senna's Senna. And that's likely a not far. That might be a farming Senna with a Lux support. We'll have to see how Rawr decides to execute on that. Of course, starving Senna, as it's called, is a popular strategy right now. And a Lux bot lane who just goes with a Doran's Ring and farms through the early game can be very strong, but we'll see how that goes.
Wait a second, Cole. Looking at this draft here, it doesn't look like Aurelion Soul has made its way for Rawr. It actually is panned out to be a Nico.
See, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But it appears to have been the wrong pick. There we go. We must have missed that in chat.
Well, that's okay. I definitely think Nico plays in a lot better, especially if they're kind of running a comp that wants to be in things. Coming through with Pop Blossom can enable so much, as well as being able to get forward and get some of those roots off and enable some of these other picks, say like Lux or even Senna once she starts scaling up.
Yeah, and Nico's also interesting because she has very good counter engage along with Alawi. There's something for Dirty Diet Lizard to watch out for, which is if they run in, Then there's the Alawi ult and the Nico ult to keep them in place, so they take a ton of damage, and that's going to be something to look out for. They really don't want to clump up and go too heavy onto Nico or Alawi. So they're going to be looking to get picks on other champ, engaging on the Senna and the Lux instead. So that's something they always have to keep an eye on, because you never do want to do the 5-man engage into the Alawi ultimate where suddenly it's a 0-man engage because the tentacles have erased your entire team. With a Nico on top of that, it'll be a little concerning.
Yeah, a little devastating. Speaking of Senna and Lux, Cole, could you give me a bit of a rundown on what we're going to be looking here as we see these bot lanes play it out?
Yeah, so Zion Rakan is a pretty classic lane. I think we've all seen it before. It's been picked a ton over the past couple years. Since those champions have released, they have that insane synergy. Rakan goes in, he goes back out, he has the engage, he has the longer range E to get back to Zaya. So their lane is pretty standard and straightforward. The Senna and Lux is an interesting dynamic. They have a ton of range. They can pretty much shut down Rakan without much issue at all. A Lux binding is very easy to land on Rakan trying to go in. So is a Senna W for that matter. She can just root him and snare him up and set up for the Lux. We're also, as I said, going to have to see if the Lux is farming early or if the Senna is farming early. Star of Senna with a Lux who actually can get into a Luden's Echo relatively early is going to be very powerful. So I would say that Senna Lux probably actually has the edge in that lane. It's certainly an interesting lane, and they have to watch out for Nunu ganks in particular, as two immobile champions, a Nunu coming into that lane can be devastating. But outside of jungle pressure, I would say that they likely have the range and poke advantage, along with a little bit of extra sustain from that Senna Q.
That poke will definitely be the deciding factor in who will take that lane. But looking at the team fight for Zyra Khan, I definitely think that they could pull forward, especially if they go even at lane and take it to a general team fight phase. They're definitely a bit stronger in that regard. Other than that, though, give me a little bit of the rundown real quick here on the mid matchup.
Yeah, so Nico and Cassiopeia is interesting because Nico's able to kind of sit back, and if she ever lands her E, then it's just going to be a ton of damage on the Cass. And Cass can't quite trade back into that, but the issue is that if Nico misses her E, she's out of defensive utility other than her W. And so Cass can start running at her, force the W, start burning and whittling down that mana. Because a missed E and then a cast W means that Nico's burning a lot of spells just to have, for what Cass could do is just walk at the Nico. And if Nico's W is down, then Cassiopeia can really, really chase that Nico down and actually get some solo kills. So you have to be looking out for that. Bubba Gump's just going to have to capitalize on those cooldowns. But while Nico has her cooldowns available, it's pretty hard for Cassiopeia to trade into that Nico.
Okay, so running the way a little bit of Dirty Diet Lizards. And to keep it flowing, just run me up across the board here, straight into the jungle on this rift now.
Nunu into Trundle is interesting because Nunu farms fast, Trundle farms fast. Trundle, if he ults Nunu, gets to steal all his stats, and then Nunu melts. So that's something to look out for, but Nunu's ganks are much, 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 much stronger. Trundle ganks are pretty sad a lot of the time. He can go in with a pillar and be like, haha, I've pillared you. And that's it for CC. He really needs his team to set up. The good thing is that he has a Nico with CC, a Lux with CC, and a Senna with CC. So he might be able to capitalize on his lanes that have strong gank setup, whereas Nunu's good at setting up ganks on his own. And then the last thing of note is in this top lane, it's actually kind of interesting how Mordekaiser ult into Alawi ult is very good. So if Alawi ults and has all her tentacles spawn, and then she goes into the death realm with Mordekaiser, they disappear, and he's able to win the fight very, very easily. So you have to see, like, there's this timing of ultimates where if Mordekaiser ults after Alawi, then he wins the fight. If Trundle ults after Mordekaiser, then he wins the fight. Lots of different setups there.
A lot of setups, a lot of windows that we'll have to watch out for, respectively, to both teams. But with that, we're going to be getting to a short spectator delay, so please stay tuned as we go through the short loading process. All right, welcome back. Getting into game one of Team Dirty Diet Lizard versus Team Rawr. Both these teams looking to take it pretty standard so far. Kind of seeing a little bit of movement here red side as all 5 members are making their way down the bot lane.
Yeah, it looks like we might have an interesting level 1 here with the invade. There's a Xayah and a Rakan that they might spot out. One thing I'm going to point out before we get any interesting level 1 is we do see the Spectral Sickle Senna, so it will be Starve Senna. Oh boy.
Oh, no. She gets the vision there, but they're going to come through with the root from Lux, and the damage is absurd. It's going to go the way of Feathers and Pure. Photography Raptor not quite able to get out of position there.
Yeah, and you just have to burn your flash. The instant you see a Lux like that, there's so much CC level 1 coming out of the Nico E, the Lux Q, Senna who could throw her W. It's just, if you get CC'd, you die. And we see Photography Raptor get CC'd, and that's an instant death and a first blood for Alawi. So that's going to make it a little harder. I said earlier that Mordekaiser really has a bit of an advantage in that matchup, but if he falls behind, it can get pretty spooky. So you do not want to see first blood to that Alawi straight off the bat. That is big for Rawr.
I was about to say, to be honest, it kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting no flash to come out there from Photography, but at least the Xayah will have something to work with in lane in case something gets a bit too spicy for her and she has to back out of it. But other than that, it was kind of a tough decision.
Yeah, if there's any silver lining, you know, it's that you do have flash for lane, but how much do you care about flash for lane when the enemy jungler is Trundle?
Sad Lantern playing it pretty darn aggressive there, getting that knockup, but I don't think that trade was very worthy.
Yeah, it supports trading, so... well, actually, Lux, of course, has the Doran's Ring, so she has one less potion than an ordinary support would. So getting poke on her is a little more valuable than it ordinarily would be on a support. Sad Lantern, of course, has 3 potions to start, so you always want to trade damage onto supports if possible.
Ooh, Sad Lantern forcing the flash out of Rookter there.
Yeah, and that's level 2 power spike. You always got to look out for it. We see the Xayah Rakan getting the push. Xayah has that awesome wave clear with her W and Q, and she's able to get the wave shove, get them to early level 2. Senna, interestingly, going into the river. That's going to be giving up an early flash, and that's something that Nunu can capitalize on.
Speaking of Nunu and the junglers as a whole, Blanker here doing a bit of kind of a risky move pretty deep here by the Grugs of blue side. Sad Lantern making his way there is going to spot him out. Does not look like Photography Raptor is on the case as well there, so he's able to pick that one up. I don't know if Mr. McHoss is going to be able to make quite the same trade.
Yeah, we did see Nunu start on the red buff to start the game off, so this is actually a case of vertical jungling. It's both junglers taking each other's red buffs. They're staying towards the top side of the map. And now we see Mr. McHoss making the right play. After seeing Trundle bot lane, he's actually going to go into the Raptors to try and counter jungle some more, because you know you're not going to find a Trundle there.
Yeah, he's still down there sitting at bot, but he has picked up all of the buffs there on his respective side, as well as, of course, the opposite camps. Curious to see where he's going to make the implication play here, possibly looking at Bubba Gumps in that mid lane, maybe.
Yeah, and we see
Speaking of mid lane, yep, Nunu forcing the flash out of not finish. She goes back, gets the root onto Mr. McHoss. Gonna see Blanker here throw down that W with extra speed, but a good miasma shuts down any pervention or any further movement.
And not Finny anymore, showing Photography Raptor how it's done with blowing your flash. If you see the enemy jungler coming in, you know you're going to die, you just get rid of it immediately, and you know that you're safe. A good trade on the tail end of that gank. You don't want to give up your flash, but at least you get some damage onto that Nunu, and then another good trade onto the Cassiopeia. So Nico down a flash, but up in damage and prep.
Don't know how long it will last her, though. Definitely going to see Cassiopeia come back on this one. She does have the health necessary. Bot lane, heavy poke. Red side here putting in so much pressure, forcing Photography Raptor and Sad Lantern off of this wave consistently.
Yeah, and so now that we see that the Senna and Lux both have level 3, they really are those ranged menaces. We said that they have a lot of ability to poke early on in the game, so that's something that you always want to watch out for if you're the Rakan and the Xayah. Senna Q has
Sad Lantern going in for the knockup onto Rookter there. He's going to get rooted out and absolutely bursted down. Baby Rope Bunny picking that one up for herself. Oh, forced cleanse in the mid lane.
Wow, a lot of fighting going on. You see a lot happening, and here comes Nunu.
Mr. McHoss. Oh, what a good route there from Baby Rope Bunny, forcing that gank to come to a complete halt.
Yeah, Nunu running in a straight line is going to find some struggles. He really needs to be coming from the side or from like a curve so that the Lux binding can't hit him running in a straight line. Otherwise, he loses the snowball. But a lot to talk about there. We did see the Senna and Lux just abusing that range advantage. They shove it into the turret, and then they say, hey, you know, we can poke you from outside of the turret. Sad Lantern just decides to go in, trying to generate some kind of fight or pressure, but just health bar not there, and Photography Raptor not on the same page. So that's going to be a costly solo kill. With this Lux farming, she's already well on her way to that complete Luden's Echo.
Yeah, and that's going to just continually stack up to the point where you have the Senna in a safe position where she can actually get a bunch of those souls, can actually get the poke off to obtain more souls to the point where mid-game, while you may have good team fight presence, you don't quite have that same power spike.
Yeah, and Starve Senna is just such a interesting champion in this game. She's so fun, and she just offers a lot.
Mr. McHoss from the bot side. He misses the appropriate Nico. Not Finny going to move forward there. We're going to see the stone come through. Oh, Bubba Gumps just absolutely shreds through with the DPS, though.
Yeah, an excellent play by Mr. McCoss. You know you've burned the Nico flash, so what do? You come back and you gank that lane again. That's how you take advantage of that gank. They lost some pressure on it the first time, but now they get a kill. They get a wave crash into the turret. They deny some farm. They get that kill on a Cassiopeia, who's really like their late game win condition, and that is huge for Dirty Diet Lizard.
Yeah, definitely spells well for him as a whole. Going to move on, give some pressure back where pressure is needed for this team.
Looks like we're entering a bit of a lull in the action. We can see there's some serious pink wards from Rawr towards that dragon.
Fur. Not quite getting that leap of faith up. We do see a rotation, though, from Bubblegum's. Going to make her way. Throws down the miasma to prevent the Senna from coming through. Rakan dashes forward, gets the knock-up onto Baby Rope Bunny. Photography Raptor falling through so well. Now they turn their attention to Rookter. The poison is burning down. Senna's incredibly low. Not going to be able to escape, and Bubblegum picks that one up for herself.
Bubba Gumps walked over 2 different wards. I was trying to call it out as he was walking through the river because I saw what was going down. Wow, that's a very early QSS. Feathers and fur. Good decision there.
Hey, it's smart.
Yeah.
If it works, if it works.
But that Cassiopeia walked over 2 wards and just showed up in lane and surprised Rawr anyway. So we saw tons of vision that was able to spot that out. They don't react to it. The bot lane gets double killed, and now that's a dragon over to Dirty Diet Lizard. They're able to leverage the Nunu, the bot lane double kill. Excellent roam from Bubba Gumps, just walking over those wards and saying, hey, they're not going to react to me. I'm a Cassiopeia. They're not scared of me, and I'll just come kill them.
Yeah, that was the wrong move there. I will say Dirty Diet Lizards, even after a little bit of a rough early game, are slowly making their way back into this.
Yeah, and it's been through excellent play from the mid lane jungle duo. We saw the kill go down onto the Nico, and then they roam together into the bot lane. Unfortunate as well, Rooktor, it was actually very well timed. That Senna had flash up about a second after she died there. Otherwise, she might have been able to pass back to the turret and survive with it. But instead, the Senna, with no mobility whatsoever and no flash available, does go down as well.
Yeah, just caught out a little out of position. Surprising that they didn't see those wards, but what happens, happens. Everyone now, though, starting to come online with their ultimates as they come into a play with these different level advantages, so a bit more spicy action to potentially happen here now on the Rift.
Yeah, and so we see Nunu looking for another gank down bot lane.
Ooh, is he going to hit the snowball? Baby Rope Bunny does get knocked up. We see the dash from the Rakan, gets the knock up again onto Baby Rope Bunny. She is rooted and stabbed by Photography Raptor. Taken out. Oh, Bubba Gumps. Not Finny anymore. Not respecting this man. Hit by that miasma. Flash over the wall. The poison, though, is going to be the stake in the casket.
And we see in 2 different instances just capitalizing on blown cooldowns. Mr. McHoss comes in, and right as the Nunu is ganking, we see Baby Rope Bunny throwing out a Q towards the Xayah.
Oh my gosh, Sad Lantern going through with the quickness under turret. Photography Raptor has free reign. Picks up another kill on Rookter.
And that time the Senna did have flash up and chose not to use it. Lots of fights, lots of abusive down cooldowns. And Dirty Diet Lizard just pulling it out. Lots of aggression, but it's calculated aggression. They're making sure. Flux uses Q, here comes the Nunu. Nico uses her W and E. Cassiopeia says, okay, well, I'll just run you down and kill you.
Ooh, Feathers and Fur. Not really able to get the leap of faith off appropriately there.
Yeah,
Takes him down to half health, though. Just a little pressure.
Skelly looks like he's not too interested in fighting an Alawi with ultimate on the ground. You obviously can just use the Mordekaiser ultimate to take Alawi out of the realm with the tentacles, but when Alawi rushes that first item QSS, you have to worry about leaving the death realm immediately, and then you're really, really in trouble. So this is a really good itemization option from Feathers and Fur. It's working very well. It makes sure that Skelly P cannot fight back in the case of that leap of faith.
And good, prevents the Mordekaiser from scaling up. You see that CS advantage. You see the complete wave, complete control there. So definitely kind of something that is going in the favor of Rawr right now.
Yeah, and with the Nunu focusing so much on ganking mid and bot, Skelly P's just kind of on their own, trying to fend for themselves into that matchup. It's being very well played by Feathers and Fur.
Ooh,
Every time
seeing some rotation here from Rawr. Blanker not quite showing him just yet. Photography Raptor almost walking there, sees him with the ward, gonna get almost rude, but the pillar prevents it. Subjugate comes down in the backline. We see Donnie Channel and Final Spark. They're both gonna miss. Pop Blossom finally takes out the Zaya, but Bubba Gumps has arrived. He flashes forward, misses the petrifying gaze, but he's able to pick a double kill up for himself.
And that is disaster for Rawr. They send 4 people on the dive, and they actually lose the trade 1 for 2. When you commit that many people, you should be getting an advantage. But it's just played so well. The Featherstorm dodging out on the Lux Final Spark. Sad Lantern finding that Trundle and that Nico with that last second ward, seeing that the dive is coming, they're able to get back to their turret. They're able to focus the Thresh when he pulls, or the Trundle when he pulls aggro. And then when Nico finds herself underneath the turret with aggro onto her after that Trundle dies, she goes down as well. Well played by Bubba Gumps to have the awareness to get there just in time. Clean up on the tail end of that dive. Very, very good punish from Dirty Diet Lizard to make sure that that dive does not go off as intended.
Looking at the protection here of this bot lane turret now, Mr. McHoss continuously sitting around it right now.
Yeah, it's been a 3v2 in the bot lane so far this game. This Nunu has been bot lane non-stop. It seems like every time that snowball is off cooldown, there is a Nunu showing up to make sure that this Lux and Senna have to back off. And this is what we said in Champion Select. If Senna and Lux don't get disturbed by junglers, they'll win that lane. But when the jungler shows up, they're 2 very immobile champions, and they can get punished super hard. So Mr. Mercos making the right decision and trying to punish it as hard as he can.
Ooh, Blank here taking advantage of the little lead they do have on Rawr and pushing this Rift Herald in the top lane, giving a little bit of gold here to Feathers and Fur.
Yeah, I think those plates actually all went to Blanker. I think Feathers and Fur was out of the range, and so the Herald gave all that plate gold to the Trundle, which is not really what you want. You'd much rather see that gold go onto the Alawi, but gold is gold nonetheless, and 320 gold on a Trundle is nothing to scoff at. Maybe not the perfect use of a Herald. They're not able to get the full turret if they could just pressure a little hard. Of course, when a turret only has 2 plates left, a Herald will guarantee first turret take. You usually want to try and wait for that. I don't think that Herald's at risk of timing out too soon, so perhaps they could have waited on a little longer, but gold is gold.
Ooh, Baby Rope Bunny gonna get through. Final Spark as well. Featherstorm comes out just a little too late. Sad Lantern rooted from the center here. We see the big flash come through from Baby Root. Now on the backside, we do have Blanker here. Finally puts the pillar down. Slows Photography Raptor. Gonna continue chomping out. Rookter here finally stepping up. Gets the long range auto attack. Now throws the stun down onto Saturn. He's gonna be taken down as Baby Rope Bunny finishes off this bot lane from Dirty Diet Lizard.
It seems like every time any team goes aggressive in the bot lane, the enemy team's jungler is there to punish it. An excellent gank from Blanker, a really excellent pillar to make sure that Zaya trying to path through that tri-brush just was going to be slowed for so damn long. That pillar has such a massive slow, and when you put it on the choke point, make sure that walking through it just takes too much time, and that's enough for the punish.
Ooh,
wow.
Leap of faith there. Now it's really starting to do some damage to Skelly P. Before he was about 75%, then 50. Now he's down to 25%. Feathers and Fur starting to come online with the damage now.
Yeah, and we see Skelly P has actually already built into a Bramble Vest, trying to reduce that healing and damage. You get some armor and hopefully try to hold on. But this Alawi with the plate gold, with the fact that it's a 30 CS lead, it's hard for Mordekaiser to do anything. And Skelly P's not really using his ultimate. The QSS is there, of course, and it's going to be countered. But not even trying to burn that cooldown. If you burn the QSS, maybe Nunu can come gank, but if you don't try at all, then you're never going to win any fights.
Well, other than that, though, it's pretty much one of the only winning lanes for Feathers and Fur, but I do have to say, Rawr is not a team to just shrug off. Currently, they are undefeated in this league right now, so they have all of the potential to make their way back into this at any given point. Ooh, Rookter there gets knocked up. Just a little forced dodge there.
Yeah, and that's that fun play pattern from Rakan when paired with Xayah. He can go pretty deep in there just to get some poke and then dash right back out. The extended E range make sure that he is very safe when near his Xayah. But something to watch out for, and something in this game is that, yeah, Rawr is undefeated, but if anyone's going to defeat them, Bubba Gumps is poised to do it. We have a 5-0 Cassiopeia in this game.
Oh, Bubba Gumps and Mr. McHoss. Miasma comes down. Oh, Mr. McHoss is able to steal the Rift as Bubba Gumps just starts shredding through, takes out Blanker. They turn their attention. Realm of Death going to be cleansed out by Feathers of Fur. Leap of Faith comes out, but it may be just too soon. Dawning Shadow for the shields isn't enough. A double kill for Bubba Gumps. Forced that cleanse out with Not Finny on the Nico, but other than that, such a good play there from Dirty Diet Lizard.
Yeah, Mr. Bacos getting the steal is huge, making sure that Rawr doesn't get 2 Heralds in the same game. It'll secure that, and then this Cassiopeia is so huge. She shows up to the fight, and that's it. There's no winning a fight against the 5-0 Cassiopeia. The Archangels is complete. There's a Roa about to be purchased as soon as Bubba Gumps goes back to base.
Sad Lantern over the wall with the charm coming through. Photography Raptor just shredding through Rookter. Oh, final spark, though. Sad Lantern taken incredibly low.
Yeah, this Lux is deceptively powerful because she actually has been farming. She's actually almost at the same amount of farm as Not Finny anymore, the mid laner. That Lux is going to be doing some damage, just not enough. The pick comes down onto Rooktor. Just so many picks coming from Dirty Diet Lizard. Sad Lantern able to find the immobile Senna once again, and Rooktor once again dying with Flash Up, saving it for next game at this point. You gotta wonder at what point you start trying to react.
I mean, that's a good point, yeah. Like you said, it's all about that kind of window timing or usage, you know, getting that flash out, capitalizing, coming through, and if you're not pulling it out or using it at any point, what is the point of even having it to begin with?
Well, as I said, though, this Cassiopeia is getting terrifying. The Roa is complete. We see what looks to be the workings of a Morellonomicon or Leandries. We'll have to see if it's the Forbidden Book or the Mask. Of course, Mask, very good when you've got a pandemic going on, trying to protect yourself from the virus. I would encourage the Leandries Torment in this game, but either one's a good option.
Either one gives a little bit of penetration, even if you don't complete the full item. So either way, I think it can work out either direction.
Yeah, it's just eyes on Cassiopeia this game. Rawr is trying to do it as a team. Bubba Gumps is just all the kills. Every time a fight breaks out, he's the one cleaning up. Looks like...
Speaking of Bubba Gumps here, gonna get chased out. The root comes through from Rookter, but no direct follow-up.
I'm not even sure that Rawr wanted that. It may have been a 2-on-1, but they may well have just gotten double killed if they chose to chase into that fight. Especially with Mr. Matas in the background, ready to back up.
See this dragon coming online here. Not Finny stepping out. Someone gonna miss. Featherstorm coming through. Flash over the wall. Not Finny gonna see Final Spark. Takes Photography Raptor incredibly low. Not Finny finally able to pick something up for Rawr. They look to chase after Sad Raptor. Bubble Gump at the backside. Misses the Miasma. Ooh, Dawning Shadow to give a little bit of shielding. Petrifying Gaze not quite gonna hit either.
Yeah, and we saw an excellent Featherstorm from Photography Raptor, and then an even more excellent answer to it from Not Finny anymore. You see the Lux Binding gets dodged out by the Featherstorm, but there's only one of them, and as soon as that's been used, there's no more defensive utility on that Xayah. Not Finny anymore, able to capitalize on it, goes with a Flash E to make sure that that Xayah is caught up, and then Pop Blossom does so much damage.
Yeah.
You thought for a moment Photography Raptor might have gotten out, but 1.3 AP ratio. Does a lot.
Just right back in, and you saw how quickly Photography was burned down immediately. Now the priority goes the way of Rawr. You have Mr. McCoss standing on the sidelines. No, it actually looks like Rawr's opting back. They see Bubba Gump, but they do not want to take it.
Yeah, even with the Petrifying Gaze down, this Cassiopeia is quite scary. That cooldown was used a little aggressively in that fight on the chase. Didn't really get a whole lot of value for it, but it's already almost back up. The 20% CDR from the Archangels going to make sure, and we see the Herald drop mid lane as well to try and generate some pressure for this dragon fight.
Ooh. Blanker almost seeing that pillar there. We see Mr. McCoss on the backside running towards his teleport from Skelly P. Throws down the absolute zero there. Gonna be taken out by Blanker, but now Bubba Gumps and Skelly here. Oh, Bubba Gumps with the DTS gonna take out Feathers and Fur, and now Rawr has to make a move here. They're gonna be pinched if they don't.
The Herald is just waltzing down mid lane unchecked right now. No one is answering it.
Ooh, Blanker maybe looking for the chase. Oh, never mind, it's not Finn anymore. I was fooled by the Nico, but he's taken very low anyways by Bubba Gumps there.
Yeah, and the one thing stopping Dirty Diet Lizard from taking this dragon right now.
Final spark. Miasma coming through from Baby Rope. You've got Blanker in the backside here. Going to take it directly to Skelly P. Is he going to be able to do it? Just barely. Blanker picks that one up for himself. Now Bubba Gumps turns around, focusing directly on Blanker. Doesn't hit the Q, so doesn't have the poison, but just finally got it. And barely Bubba Gumps is able to take out Blanker before the flash.
And so Dirty Diet Lizard couldn't do the dragon because Mr. McCoss died on the front end of it. But this fight has gone on so long that the Nudu has respawned and walked his way all the way to the dragon. So this dragon is going to go to Dirty Diet Lizard with Blanker dead. There's no smite. The Herald, meanwhile, in the mid lane, almost took that mid-inner turret by herself. Shelly putting in work for Dirty Diet Lizard.
Yeah. They say the Shelly is unbiased, but I'm not quite sure right now.
Either way, another good fight, and Rooktor looking in
Speaking
trouble.
of a good fight, Rooktor there able to dodge the knockup, but Featherstorm doing absurd amount of damage as Photography Raptor picks that one up for himself.
Yeah, and Sad Lantern unfortunately misses the initial W on the way in, but just so fast with the quickness, there's nothing Ascena can do. The charm comes in, and that's it. You end up having to waste one extra ultimate cooldown.
No! Feathers and Fur running directly into the snake's mouth. Petrifying Gates coming out. We see Leap of Fate. Bubblegum taking down incredibly low, though. Feathers and Fur with the upset, the shutdown onto Bubblegums.
And that's what happens when you stand right next to an Alawi. A lesson for everyone. She hurts. Even if Ed Cassiopeia really can't find herself in melee range of an Alawi, that is danger and trouble. And that's something that Bubblegums is going to have to look out for. Feathers and Fur just blast-coning over and finding it.
This chase on to Mr. McCoss here. Blanker, even with Flash coming through, at least they get that out of him.
See some PM from Feathers and Fur. Laughing at this Mordekaiser because there is nothing he can do to stop this.
Not quite, but they don't have the wave to make a great push with either.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because that's a huge shutdown for that Alawi. When you get to solo kill a very, very fed Cassiopeia, you get a lot of gold. This may just be a completed death stance when Feathers and Fur recalls, and suddenly there's someone else to pay attention to. That Alawi is going to be huge.
Yeah, that's going to basically be the rotating point for Rawr now, getting in there, waiting for the engage, letting Feathers and Fur come through with the Leap of Faith, and finally have something to counter the absurd damage we've been seeing from Dirty Diet Lizard so far.
Well, I said Death Stance. Ended up being a Merc Scimitar. That's not the best itemization choice. You don't want to complete that item too early into the game. QSS is so much of its value. You'd rather have a Death Stance. You'd rather have a Spirit Visage if against a Fed Cassiopeia. So I gotta raise a question mark for that one. That's gonna make that shutdown a little less impactful when you complete the Merc Scimitar like that.
Lesson to all, not always great to complete the item fully. You get the value out of Death Stance. I mean, you get the value out of Mercurial Scimitar pretty much immediately once you get that Quicksilver Sash.
Yeah, not to say it's a bad item, right? You get some lifesteal, you get a little more AD, but
it's a finisher. You come through fifth or sixth item, complete the lineup. That extra little gold you have.
For sure. So even then, that's a Fed Alawi. That's a Alawi with 200 HCS at 24 minutes. Excellent farm out of Feathers and Fur. These are numbers you might see in a much, much higher ranked game. Same thing for Bubba Gumps for that matter.
Yeah,
212 is nothing to scoff at.
Oh, doing really great, rotating around these waves, keeping up the pressure, and just managing the gold value as a whole. Always good to see. Feathers and Fur doing so much work here, putting a lot of pressure in the bot lane, almost forcing full response. And with Baron up, I'm curious to see how it's going to impact the game here shortly.
Yeah, the issue for Rawr is that they don't really have the Baron DPS. Like, Senna isn't really known for her damage to objectives. Lux isn't either. They've got a lot of burst, they've got a lot of poke, but melting the Baron is hard, and if they start it on a warrior, Dirty Diet Lizard is able to find it, then they're going to be able to punish that pretty hard, especially with a Cassiopeia and Miasma to punish. That'll be spooky.
Ooh, Skelly P still taking these fights against Feathers and Fear, not quite one to shy away from this Alawi.
Yeah, and Mordekaiser is starting to scale a little bit here. With Leandry's completed, we see him starting to do a little bit more meaningful damage. You're able to burn down that Alawi a little easier. It's interesting. I think he's going for a Gnasher's Tooth second. I'm not going to claim to be a Mordekaiser expert, but I would have not anticipated that item being a part of his core build. Not sure what you think about that.
I'm not quite exactly sure, especially how he's operating a little bit tanky earlier and suddenly switched it back.
Yeah, that's a question mark for me. I'm sure it'll work out fine. I have faith. Maybe you just want to auto tag lock. Face check.
Oh no, face check. Bubba Gump gonna get rooted out. We see the quickness though coming through so quickly from Sad Lantern, and as a result, the DPS coming through from Bubba Gumps is absolutely absurd. Good snowball, finished off for a double kill now on Bubba Gumps.
Yeah, and that's the petrifying gaze and the Rakan putting it in work. It's Bubba Gumps who actually face checked into Rawr, but the petrifying gaze and then the quickness able to immediately turn that fight around. It's almost like Rawr wasn't ready for Dirty Diet Lizard to face check into them. They didn't react in time, and they found themselves stunned and melted. Tons of flashes burned to get out of that fight. That could have been even more of a disaster. A couple other people going down, and that's going to be Baron as well. Instead, Dirty Diet Lizard settles for a second Cloud Dragon and putting them on Soul Point. This next dragon spawning is huge for them. A Cloud Soul on Cassiopeia is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, the movement speed, the additional, just in general coming through, and also not to mention if you get Petra. Oh wow, Mr. Mc. That's a little aggressive. Sad Lantern actually has to come through to protect them. Root comes out and a knockup as well. They may be able to turn this around. Not fitting in the back line. Gonna get the Pop Blossom off as well as Final Spark from over the wall. Absolute Zero gonna get a full charge. Rookter taking incredibly low. We see the bite come through to get a little bit of health back onto Mr. McHoss, but so many roots just allows Rookter to finally clean this one up. And that's what you get. That's what you get.
One little chicken. One chicken. One chicken.
One chicken. They had to have it though.
Yeah.
Had to have it.
It was the moral victory. You take the chicken, you're winning. But when it costs you a death, it costs you a turret. Rawr able to capitalize on that very well. A great reaction from them. Bubba Gumps was split pushing in the bot lane during that entire fight. You never want to take a fight without the strongest
Skelly
members.
P here.
Goodbye,
Round of death.
Just
Let's
goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. Goodbye. Goodbye. Rookter's out of there before I can even figure out what's going on.
Yeah, when you enter the death realm without a QSS on a champion like Senna, you are dead. There's no way around it. That's exactly what Skelly P needs to be doing. This Lux also going to be vulnerable to that. Nico, for that matter, vulnerable as well. And Skelly P finally getting on the board with a kill. This Mordekaiser is going to be doing a whole lot more of that as this game goes on. It's something that Rawr is going to have to be worried about. We might see a few more champions paying the QSS tax if that continues.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for Skelly P, though. After getting pushed in and just rammed back so hard in that early game against Feathers and Fuhrer, it's nice to see him kind of making his way back finally. Ooh. A little bit of poke. Baron going to do most of the work there onto Mr. McHoss.
Yeah, always a great idea to poke the Baron if you see someone in the back of the pit. Baron gets angry when people are trying to clear wards behind him. He's not fond of that. And you're trying to clear a ward in my pit, I'm going to beat you up. And Mr. McHoss, just not quite that tanky yet. The Gargoyle is completed, but that leaves him a little squishier when not in the middle of a full team fight. So Baron definitely going to do some serious damage there. Nothing a little bit of consume can't heal back up, though.
It's just a little bit of entertainment that we get from seeing Baron do a little bit of work in this little lull period.
Yeah, it seems like both teams are pretty content to sit around and wait. This Cloud Dragon coming up in 2 minutes is really going to be the big objective. I'm sure we're going to see close to the game-deciding fight when that happens. Of course, Dirty Diet Lizard just trying to ride this Cassiopeia. Wherever Bubba Gumps is where the action should be. So you've got to keep an eye on him. Looks like they're eyeing the Baron right now, maybe going to try and get some vision around it. You can, of course, always pull the bait and switch, where you get vision and priority around one objective, and then when the other team comes to answer, you just walk right across the mid lane, go take the other. You can rush a dragon down very quickly.
Yeah, no, and especially when we look at these two teams and something like Bubba Gumps, It'd be dead in seconds by the time you realize what's going on.
Yeah, and this Zaya is actually pretty strong too. You see the Infinity Edge and the Essence Reaver completed. That's 50% crit. That's a ton of AD. And she gets so much attack speed from her W.
Actually gonna be hit by the E there. Still willing to take this fight a little bit. Skelly P rotating up here, trying to get a little bit of something. Gets the grab onto Feathers and Fur. We do see consistent E and DPS, but nothing quite coming out of it.
Yeah, this top turret has been under siege. Another E. Ooh,
oh my gosh, a leap of faith as well with the E. Bubba Gum's taken incredibly low. Remember last time Feathers and Fur was the one to take him out. Those tentacles could do the work. Not quite though. Ooh, not anymore. Coming through on the side. Actually going to be taken into the death realm. We see the root come through.
Yeah, Skelly go fight the Nico.
Nah, doesn't want to take it. Doesn't want to take it. Feathers and Fur's right there.
You take the Nico into the death realm. She uses all her spells, and then you don't chase after her. That's an easy kill for the Mordekaiser. All he has to do is walk. In that case, perhaps it's the right play. The Alawi is there to back it up. You kill the Nico, and you probably die for it, but you're in the death realm. You gotta be greedier than that. You don't even see the Alawi on the map. Where's the confidence? Skelly P, you're killing me.
I think it's a little bit of respect, and I definitely think it was necessary overall, though. Good to see him being smarter than my color here. Oh, speaking of smart, Sad Lantern gonna be hit by the pillar there by Blanker. Now you see Not Finny anymore and Rookter. They're looking to capitalize. As we see the slow come through onto Sad Lantern, gonna be using the charm. Knock up as well. Baby Row Bunny, though, takes him out and just massive damage across the board. Feathers and Fur makes his way through, chasing that one out. Additionally, ooh, Skelly P teleporting in, not quite in the right spot in the backline. Gonna get pinched here now as Feathers and Fur comes through. Like I said, Feathers and Fur picking up another kill for himself. And that dragon, that soul contesting dragon, goes over the way of Rawr now.
Yeah, the gold lead is close to dead even. This far in the game, it may as well be dead even. 1.3 or 4K is basically nothing when everyone's sitting on 2 or 3 items. And again, we see Dirty Diet Lizard taking a fight without their Cassiopeia. Bubba Gump just wasn't there. He wasn't able to fight. They got picked. It looked like a little bit of non-committal. We saw Sad Lantern thinking about going in while the rest of the team was running away. They find themselves caught by a Pop Blossom and a Final Spark, and that is it for Dirty Diet Lizard in that fight. And now it looks like Rawr is going to be taking down this Baron. The Zaya and the Rakan are on their way, but they're not going to make it in time.
Or the snowball from Nunu. That's moving pretty darn fast. Already made its way there. Gonna get a double knock-up to begin with. We see the Dive Red team, though, picking this up in itself. Good charm by the quickness there. You see Photography Raptor deep in that backline, but not before Bubba Gumps comes through. Leap of Faith doing so much work. The team just moves out quickly enough. Oh, Mr. McCoss gonna be picked up in the result. We see the knockup come through from Sad Lantern, but Leap of Faith, the tentacles just crumbling the side of Dirty Diet Lizard. Now Feathers and Fur looking to chase a little bit. Gonna get rooted out by Photography Raptor. We see Skelly P for saving the day here. Oh, a shutdown across the board, though. Senna makes her way through. Rookter doing so well. Now Skelly P out of the realm of death, finding out Feathers and Fur. Has to respond now. We see Baby Rope Bunny and Skelly P. The shielding, though, from Rakan. Just barely able to take that one. Sad Lantern incredibly low, but Skelly P coming out of the golden to save the day.
Wow. What a knife's edge for a fight to be decided on. That was crazy close. Oh, I mean, there's a lot to say there, but damn, that Alawi put in so much work. That Baron pit was the Alawi Thunderdome. Just tentacles.
Do not enter.
Yeah. Holy moly.
Skelly P, though, coming in with the Realm of Death at the right moment. Now, a shame that Rookter went around the bend of Baron, came through, went down the river, and was able to clean up. But during that time period, had Rookter not been there, Skelly P had just essentially secured that team fight for his team, allowing the safety, getting everyone away from Feathers of Fear, even if he had to sacrifice himself in the end. Not quite the way it worked out, but it was a good decision in my idea.
And so we do see 2 Barons still on the side of Rawr. Blanker was able to flash over the Baron pit wall and escape. And we see Baby Rope Bunny also pulling that Baron. So they might be able to use this buff to generate some pressure. Dragon spawning in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I believe that'll be shortly after the Baron buff times out. So we're going to see another big fight then for sure. But it'll be interesting to see how Rawr tries to leverage this Baron. They have evened the gold lead up entirely. It is 57.9k to 57.9k. This game is dead even.
No surprise there. Both these teams seem to be relatively matched up, and either way, you've got your contenders. You look at Feathers and Fur in the top lane, you have to worry. Bubba Gumps, of course. Blanker here, a little too far, going to throw the pillar down. Featherstorm doing so well to dodge the final spark there. Photographer Raptor going to get a massive roof as well. Pop Blossing missing in the backlines. Bubba Gumps slamming through with the damage. Now Photography Raptor making her way back. Great pull onto Blanker there to finish him off.
That pick just unfortunately a little too early for the Dragon, but still a very well timed response from Dirty Diet Lizard. Photography Raptor was just stuck on a pillar for so long.
Speaking of stuck, you see Sadlander stuck onto Rookter here, and Photography Raptor just shreds this instantaneous.
Yeah, and a second pick is going to generate a ton of pressure. They're going to be able to push down that mid lane inner. That's a big turret to take this late in the game. Gets you a lot more freedom to roam about the map, and when invading, makes the vision a whole lot easier to collect as well. And that's ideal when this dragon is spawning in a minute. Rawr are going to have to back off, retreat to their base to hold, and that means that Dirty Diet Lizard is going to have a much easier time pulling back off to this Soul Point Cloud Dragon. Maybe this time they'll be able to get it. Bubba Gumps is in the area this time, so they won't be fighting without their 12-kill Cassiopeia.
Yeah, that definitely could be the turning point there. It still looks like maybe they're waiting. They're setting up a little bit of a death bush here, and they are waiting. Who's gonna be it? Blanker making his way down, doesn't know. You see Side Lantern come through with the quickness and a knockup as well. Bubba Gumps shredding this man. Just absolutely deleted from the map. And with no jungler now, it's all but secured for Dirty Diet Lizard.
Yeah, there's something to look out for here. It'll be interesting to see if Rawr contest, because Alawi and Nico both have their ultimates, and Alawi has flash up, so a flash...
Sad Lantern, knockup, snowball, knockup, Feathers and Fur. Just too tanky for any of that to matter, though.
Yeah, and I think we'll see Bubba Gumps will just go for the zoning play.
Not Philly anymore. Sending out that clone there. Not quite. They're really pressuring on this one. Feathers and Fur trying to make his way into this one. Finally stepping forward. Not quite. Gonna dive on a Sad Lantern. We see the knockup come through. Sad Lantern taking incredibly low there. Now there's the leap of faith. Oh, good final spark from Baby Rope Bunny on the side there to secure that kill. We see Dawning Shadow giving a little bit of health to Feathers and Fur, but not before finally Photography Raptor takes him out. Rookter there trying to make his swift escape now, but he's going to be caught out and rooted as Skelly P picks this one up for himself. And now, with only 3 members left alive on Rawr, and finally the Soul of the Clouds secured for Dirty Diet Lizard. Does not look good for Rawr.
Yeah, that's huge for them. Mr. McCoss doing the right thing while the team is fighting. The Nunu is sitting there, just right-clicking that dragon, furiously trying to melt it down. With Consume and Smite, it's an easy secure. I actually believe I saw that dragon sitting at 35 HP for a split second. Could have been stolen by Feathers and Fur, and then this game would have gotten real interesting. Nunu is able to time that secure pretty cleanly. And in that fight, it's just hard because we see Feathers and Fur walk in and start doing disruption. The Leap of Faith is huge, but then the rest of Rawr has a struggle getting past that choke point because there's a Cassiopeia guarding it. Petrifying Gaze came up right as that fight started to break out, and you just have to respect that spell so much, because if you get Petrifying Gazed on your way into the fight, you're not making it into that fight. You're making it all the way back to your fountain.
Yeah, not quite something you consistently want to play into, so no surprise there looking at how that one worked out.
Yeah, it's part of Rawr is you're saying, hey, Alawi, like, we can't follow you. Cassiopeia is scary to us. Alawi sitting here with that Merc Scimitar and a GA and Merc.
Hey, I got no problem.
Yeah. What do you mean she does damage?
What do you mean? Come on, it's easy, guys. Yeah, but no real amazing fall through there. They're really positioning, hunkering down around this Baron here. I don't think either team wants to take this just yet, though.
Yeah, the Cloud Soul's been taken up, so Dirty Diet Lizard can play for picks right now, and wow, that's a lot of damage to Rook.
Oh! Jeez. We talk about coming back into it.
I'm saying Skelly, he just drops his ult there. That's a kill. What's
true.
Gonna do? I'm just saying.
Just saying.
He probably dies again for it. It's a bad idea because you have to chase it into the enemy that they punish.
Hey, you saw what happened to Mr. McCoss when he took that Raptor. I'd agreed.
Very true. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have a Baron dance going on. Mordekaiser has finally found his way into the bot lane to split push with teleport up. That's what you want to do when Baron's alive and you're a top laner. Just put yourself on the opposite side of the map and say, I can teleport in if a fight breaks out.
Hey, it forces a response.
Yep. No one actually responding yet. He's just wailing on that turret at this point, and Rawr not
Feathers and Fury
saying a whole lot to do about it.
gets to eat off there. Not infinite anymore. Not quite in. Gosh, Feathers and Fur taking so much damage, though, from Bubba Gumps as a result. Oh, finally, the teleport comes through. Actually going to be charmed, canceled by Sad Lantern, and Bubba Gumps deleting that GA advantage there now. They turn their attention. Petrifying Gaze not going to hit. We do see Leap of Faith. Sad Lantern taking incredibly low. Actually going to be taken out by Feathers. Now we have Blinker in the backline chasing after Baby Gump, using the cleanse to get through, but absolute zero, doing no damage to Blinker. Photography Raptor finally turning around, taking out Blinker as a result. Ooh, Skelly P getting the pull onto Baby Runner. The Realm of Death finally making its way on the Rift. We see the Zonias. Flash as well. I don't think he's quite going to be able to pick that one up, but speaking of picking things up, Dirty Diet Lizard finally getting a Baron for themselves.
Yeah, an absolute disaster for Rawr there. The teleport to answer the Mordekaiser gets canceled.
Skelly P, he's actually taken pretty low there. Half health gonna have to throw the shield out. Curious to see if Dirty Diet Lizard is gonna be able to make a response quick enough. Rookter just beating him out, just barely gonna be grounded, but he's actually able to pick up Mordekaiser before Bubba Gumps finally gets that deleting presence there.
Yeah, and you know, the Mordekaiser maybe not able to 1v1 the Senna without the Death Realm, but that's not a 1v1 when Cassiopeia shows up and kills that Senna with 2 E's. That is
That's
ridiculous damage coming out of Bubba Gumps. I've never seen a Cassiopeia hurt harder.
You look at the build and you have to realize something, Cole.
There's
She
not a
doesn't
Rabadons
even have a Rabadons yet.
Yeah, when that item is completed, it is going to be curtains. I'm curious, how much AP does Bubba Gumps have right now? He's only at 700. That Rabadons will take him well over 1,000. This Baron power play going to be super powerful, but 2 inhibs taken down. All DDL needs to do now is show up in the top lane and say, hey, you only have 2 turrets left. Let's go ahead and take them. And I'm not sure that Rawr is going to be able to have an answer for that. Elder Dragon also spawning in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Ooh, now
hard to imagine that
Rawr could be the
gonna
game
able to
deciding
go for it.
Curious to see how they're going to actually manage the pressure out here now and be able to respond to some of these objectives, especially when you've got, like you said, 2 inhibitors down. You either give way and let it happen, and then suddenly maybe actually have to result with Skelly P teleporting in for maybe a back door. Just saying, that could potentially happen. Or you have to sit there and let the Elder be taken, which is almost surefire going to be kind of the stake in the coffin.
Yeah, and something to look out for here is that Skelly P now does have the TP advantage. Feathers and Fur with that failed TP on the Baron play, not going to be able to answer the Mordekaiser in the top lane.
Rookter there. Spell shield goes down, but no follow-up.
So, Skelly P can just push, and no one can answer unless they want to give up that Elder Dragon. Otherwise, it's a 4v5 on the bottom of the map once Mordekaiser teleports in. DDL can just play this slow and let Mordekaiser get pressure.
They're looking for something here, but no one's quite making the direct impact needed just yet. You see Feathers and Fur on that backside there. Still doesn't have GA up for herself. Can get ripped down at any given point.
And DDL still in no rush. You see this Mordekaiser gonna start hitting on a turret. No one's there to answer him. The longer this play goes on, the more DDL wins.
Feathers and Fur here. Seaside Lantern, you see over the wall. Gets the E there. Pop Blossom coming through as well as Final Spark in the back line there. Finally, Feathers and Fur picking off Sad Lantern, but a response coming out so quickly there as Bubblegum goes down as well. Finally, a team fight working out in the pace of Rawr instead.
Yeah, and DDL just let themselves get engaged on a little bit. But here's the issue. There's a Mordekaiser going for the end. Stop the ports! Stop the ports!
They couldn't stop Rookter. Now they turn their attention to Photography Raptor. Baby Robot taking incredibly low. Zonia's coming out to save the day, though. Good route there from Photography Raptor. Get them off her. But now Mr. McCoss is caught a little too far forward. Skelly P still pushing this out. Don't think he can 1v1 Rookter anymore, though.
Not underneath the Nexus turret, but there's so many minions. And
Photography Raptor his way. Now the Nexus open available. Final Spark not quite going to hit. They're ticking down the Nexus one step at a time. Okay, GA finally down for Photography Raptor, and the whole team's there as well. Of course he's going to go down. Goes over the way of Baby Rope Bunny, just barely saving their Nexus, though.
But with triple inhib down, now there's double supers in every wave. There's a Nunu already on the Elder Dragon. They're able to win the fight, but they can't even secure the objective around it. Looks like DDL is going to be able to take this Elder Dragon. An answer from Rawr means giving up their Nexus. So this is going to be even harder to overcome for Rawr. They get the kills, but it's just not quite quick enough.
Now they've got 4 members there sitting on that Elder Dragon buff, and I hate to tell you, Cole, but the Rabadons has made its way onto the Rift.
Oh boy. Let's check the AP. That is 1012 AP on that Cassiopeia, and she is tanky to boot. With 3500 HP, the Rylai's Morello Leandri's Roa just giving so much health. It makes it so hard to even focus fire that Cassiopeia with an Archangel's Shield on top of it. That cast is so hard to deal with. There's so many different ways for DDL to win now. They can just wait for Baron, they can escort the minions in. Mordekaiser actually still has TP, so if Rawr overextends, he really could go for the back door. You called it out earlier. It's a realistic possibility when the open Nexus is out there. It looks like Dirty Diet Lizard gonna be poking their face towards the base of Rawr now. There's only one structure left on the map, and they're gonna be trying to take it very, very soon.
Oh. Maybe 2 structures left on the map. And
Oh,
both inhibs
inhib
finally
respawns.
spawning up. Yeah. 5-minute timer finally coming out for the side of Rawr. Don't know if it's going to help them out too much. They've definitely made a case for themselves, and they could defend this. It just all kind of sits on the back of Feathers and Fur here, getting a good leap of faith, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you've always got to be anxious in these fights. If you fight around the inhib, just one person
coming out. Double root. Bubblegums and Sadlander forcing the cleanse. Going to get rooted again by Rooter there. We see Leap of Faith come out. The E gets absolutely destroyed. Feathersburg going to get pulled back by Skelly P there. No quite able to take anything just yet. You see the Zonias for some reason come out slow as well there from Finny anymore. Now they launch themselves onto the inhibitor. E is actually going to miss onto Mr. McCoss. They turn into a pull comes through onto Feathers and Fur. Going to have to use the Quicksilver Sash there. Going to go down, but not before Baby Rowan gets the return kill on to the buff. But now the Elder Drake buff is finally here. Sadlander taking really low. We see Absolute Zero. It's going to be Mr. McCoss taking a double kill for himself as they make their way onto the Nexus. Skelly P doing such a good job to pressure here as the Nexus ticks down. Dirty Diet Lizard takes game 1 of this best of 3.
And it wasn't the cleanest, but they did seem to kind of have control throughout most of it. There were mistakes and missteps, but they get the Soul, they get the Baron, they get that second Herald Seal. That was such a pivotal play to get them rolling. And Bubba Gumps on this Cassiopeia just putting in so much work. And then the late game Xayah coming in. They actually kill Bubba Gumps in that fight, but there's still a Xayah alive, and a Xayah with an Elder Dragon and Rakonda Protector is a force not to be reckoned with, and they are able to clean up the fight, take the Nexus, and wow, it looks like we may just have an upset. Rawr with their 5-0 record, looking like it may slip down a little bit if we get a repeat of Game 1 into Game 2.
An upset is maybe what an upset is maybe what we will have here, but y'all will just have to stay tuned to find out as we get everything situated here for Game 2. Don't click away from that browser. Hello and welcome back to Risen Esports Rampage Premade League, getting into the second game here of Team Dirty Diet Lizard versus Team Rawr. In game one there, we saw Team Dirty Diet Lizard come onto the Rift with such a power. Bubba Gump, especially on that Cassiopeia, doing so well. We see a little bit of changes now, though, in response from Rawr.
Yeah, we don't have it updated on the overlay, but we have seen some role swaps and one substitution out of Rawr. The legend himself, Doki FTW, subbing in for Blanker in the jungle, which means we are quite likely to see some TP Smite action. We've also seen Not Finny anymore and Baby Rope Bunny doing a swap between mid and support after the Lux bot lane didn't quite work out last game. They may just be choosing to send that Lux mid lane if they're able to get it, and Not Feeney anymore now going to take up the mantle for what might be a more conventional bot lane for Rawr.
Speaking of these lanes here, getting into the pick and bans, we see pretty standard, like we said last time, very targeted bans, especially Rawr coming out there just recently, looking at that Cassiopeia, not wanting that in Bubba Gump's hands anymore. Diana, Fizz, Zillion, and Ari picked out respectively.
Yeah, and so Diana once again, Skelly P's ban, the Fizz and the Cassiopeia both towards Bubba Gumps. After what he did in game one, it's hard to ban Rawr for banning him out. It's going to be interesting to see what Bubba Gumps goes with from there. His next most popular champion is the Ornn mid, which, while a very strong pick still, doesn't really have that same 1v9 hard carry potential. It's much more about supporting his team. So we may see something interesting out of Bubba Gumps, or he may have to be forced into a different playstyle. In any case, we see the same exact bot lane picked up for Dirty Diet Lizard. It worked so well in game one, why not run it back in game two?
On the contrary, though, Rawr going completely the opposite direction in comparison to game one, going to be opting for the Thresh and Tristana now.
Yeah, and so Thresh is a pick that's also operating as a ban. You're denying Sad Lantern the Thresh pick, also a Thresh main, so you just go ahead and grab it up front and make sure, no, you can't have that. But Zion Rakan is a very solid answer to that. And Tristana, though she does have the W, it can be hard to pull that off if Rakan gets on top of her. You really need to have the reaction times. But, Alawi again.
Yeah, we're seeing Feathers and Fur going to be looking, pulling through here again in the top lane on this Alawi. Yeah, I can admit on Rawr, it was one of the better champions on the Rift there last time, so not a surprise to see it grace us again.
Yeah, in that Baron fight last game, we saw Feathers and Fur put in an absurd amount of work doing damage, almost 1v5ing an entire team fight. It didn't quite work out, but still, that Alawi did put in a ton of work last game. It'll be interesting to see what Dirty Diet Lizard's answer to it is. They also pick up the Nunu, which denies it from Doki FTW. He's a big Nunu player. Loves the TP Smite Nunu, so he's not going to be able to pull that out this game.
Other than that, we see relatively some more pick-based bans, especially influenced by last game there. We're going to see the Trundle and Mordekaiser banned out respectively. Looking to see what else they come through here. I'm not surprised that they're focusing out Doki here.
Mordekaiser is a pretty interesting ban to me. I think after you saw how that lane went in game one, you should say, like, hey, like, let's run that back. Like, let's run that back as many times as you want. I think it was first turret or close to it. It was several plates. It was a solo kill. That Alawi just really worked well into that Mordekaiser. I would be super confident if I was Feathers and Fur to run that lane again. Now Skelly P going to have to choose to go for a different answer. So we'll see. Mordekaiser obviously wasn't it, so I think they might even be thankful for that ban, all things considered.
Now this one's a little bit different. You don't quite have that same frontline presence now on Dirty Diet Lizard. But of course, the scaling potential has gone up massively with this rotation. Kale could be flex, but I'm pretty sure we'll see that make its way top.
Yeah, Kale is more popular as a top lane pick. I'm hesitant for Kale into Alawi. Alawi's just gonna smash that early game in all likelihood. Kale really doesn't get the ranged advantage for a while. A level 1 through 5 Kale trying to fight against an Alawi sounds a little horrifying. But there is that scaling, and like you said, it could go mid lane. We'll have to see. But That'll be interesting. It's certainly a different approach. Mordekaiser, you pick it into allow, you trying to win the lane. Kale, you pick it into allow, you trying to survive the lane and then outscale.
So yeah, definitely different context there. We see Rawr finish up their comp, going to be opting through with the Amumu going on to Doki there, and Syndra finishing its way onto Baby Robe Bunny. Oh,
That's an Ornn.
I still don't know where that's going to end up, because I have seen Ornn run mid occasionally, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Kale mid, Ornn top, though.
In my informed color caster opinion, Bubba Gumps has played Ornn, but not Kale. And I think Kale is more often a pocket pick for a top laner. I would bet it's Ornn mid with Kale top. Ornn also fares quite well into Syndra. Syndra wants to blow up and one-shot someone, and an Ornn who rushes Abyssal Mask doesn't let that happen.
Okay, so definitely kind of on the right mindset of what I was thinking there. Curious to see the difference now in Ornn, especially after the recent nerfs, if he still has kind of that same pressure, or at least the absurd pressure he had here about a patch ago.
Yeah, so the thing about Ornn is that he still has that same late game. It just comes a little bit later. His Ornn item power spikes come in a couple minutes and a level of experience after they used to, so he's still able to be that super, super strong late game insurance policy. He's the reliable engage, he's an excellent frontliner, he just gets super tanky. But you have to wait a little bit longer and hold out a little more time for Ornn to get online. But what I can say is that when you draft Kale and Ornn, if this game goes past 40 minutes, Dirty Night Lizard just wins. There's no way they lose the game. So that's all they're looking to do here. They just want to scale. Xayah also a scaling monster. It's going to be a matter of sitting back and saying, hey, like, every minute that passes, we're winning.
True. I have to say, and they do have the respective appeal to make it work if need be. If you want to throw Rakan and Nunu out there to kind of save your team for a little bit, or even Ornn, of course, has so much dramatic CC, and he does scale up pretty darn soon, even if he doesn't hit those Ornn spiked items just yet. You definitely can mitigate and allow yourself to kind of move forward. Not to say, though, that Rawr, of course, definitely does not have the potential to just lock onto Dirty Diet Lizard need be.
Yeah, and so Featherstorm provides a lot of safety with a Kale ult as well. It's going to be super hard to kill this Xayah. Syndra ultimate just doesn't actually do damage. If Xayah presses Featherstorm when Syndra presses R, that doesn't do damage to the Xayah. If Syndra presses R on Kale and Kale answers with her own ultimate, it won't do damage to that Kale. Syndra is so much of that like one-shot burst potential trying to get picks, and Dirty Diet Lizard has two very reliable answers to it in those ultimate abilities. Makes it quite hard to generate those kills super early, and it makes it hard especially for Syndra to do something. You're really going to have to be CCing them and catching them out with someone like a Mumu or Thresh in order to capitalize on this position.
Yeah, it's really going to be half to some of those dramatic picks, which actually I think in general that's a lot of what Rawr is running right now. You have some champions that can make some dastardly picks and come through on the side and actually really set something up, especially if the number profile on either team is kind of, askew there. You've got Thresh, who's obviously a great engage, but also great at peel. A Mumu, of course, you have to watch everything. You do not want to be hit by the Curse of the Sad Mummy there. And Alawi can pull through with the E, which does start some significant engages. Rawr has a lot of their win conditions set in kind of finding that little crack in the wall there and just forcing yourself in.
Yeah, it's all about Rawr needing to generate kills and proactive play. It's all about Dirty Diet Lizard just trying to play safe, sit back, and let the game happen. And it's a respectable strategy. After game one went as long as it did, we didn't see them closing out the game super quickly. It's easy to imagine that this might be the comp that works for this matchup. These teams weren't playing in a way that closed out the game super soon. We saw some dives, but it wasn't like super aggressive proactive play, mostly fighting around objectives. And as long as you can split a dragon or two early on, then you really push back the Elder Dragon long enough to make sure that you can have a chance. So I would say I really like Dirty Diet Lizard's draft in this game. They have so much strength. They have such a one-dimensional almost win condition. You know how you need to play. You need to sit back. You need to farm. You need to scale. You can take fights when you have an advantage. Nunu did so much work in the game one Mr. Vikas probably going to be trying to do the same thing. A proactive Nunu can get them through the early game, and then Orn and Kale can get them through the late. Rawr, on the other hand, it's going to be all about this on Mumu. If he gets a good Curse of the Sad Mummy, that can be a game-deciding play. We're going to need to be all eyes on Doki for the win, and if he doesn't
gosh.
teleport Smite, it's just such a disadvantage because Flash Amumu R is such a powerful combo. And when that Amumu has no Flash, he's just short one tool in his playbook. That's going to be a big disadvantage.
I mean, imagine though. Imagine this could be the day of the upset. I don't expect it because I think Doki is hard to his morals and hard to his word, but if it's necessary, he may come through. He may come through with that flash. But just to look in general at Rawr, I have a little statement that I always kind of pin on comps like this. You either have to go boom in the early game or you're going to go bust as you go towards the late game, because Dirty Diet Lizard has provided themselves with, like you said, such a good scaling comp. But with that, is there any more additional analysis you can throw out here, Cole?
I really think that's about it. This game is going to bubble down to how fast can Rawr win, and if not fast enough, how quickly will they lose?
Oh gosh.
There will come a time Orn starts getting those items, Kale hits level 11 and 16, and like snap, that'll be it. That'll be game.
And with that, that'll be it of our a bit of analysis here on these two teams. With that, we are going to go to a bit more of an extended but longer spectator delay. So please, hopefully stay with us as we go through this loading period. Don't miss out on what I will assume will be a very exciting game too. All right, sorry about that extended break, but we're finally back into game 2 here of Dirty Diet Lizard versus Team Rawr. If you're just joining us, Dirty Diet Lizard currently leads the series with 1 win. And speaking of Dirty Diet Lizard, they're going for their standard 5, but it looks like Rawr, all 5 members, making their way top here. Curious if they're going to get spotted by Skelly Pete.
We saw this happen last game. Skelly Pete dodges out on the hook. Ooh. Good reaction time.
Just barely. Just barely. Now, here's something that I'm not seeing right now. If you are Dirty Diet Lizard, you should see the fact that you have all 5 members of Rawr all the way up there on that top side. Get some vision across the board in that red side jungle. You're finally seeing Sad Lantern making the move here. He should have been on that far early.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Sad Lantern just heard you talking. We may be on a 3.5-minute delay, but that Rakan heard you, and that word comes in. As long as it's down, it's down. It's actually almost a little better to wait on it because it means that it stays alive for longer. So, but I agree. It's when you see an entire enemy team show up in one bush on the top side of the map, you should be going into the bottom side jungle and plunking down a ward or two to make sure you have information about who is starting where.
Either way, they're actually
spotted.
Yeah, we're gonna see that immediately there. That's interesting, but hey, we may see the same go for Doki if he rotates towards this red. He actually may be looking mid for a very early gank, mitigating the flash by making a very strong move very far back. Oh, never mind. Yeah, he's actually gonna go for the counter on that blue there now.
This is a bold play for a flashless Amumu. If he does find Amumu, he is going down. It looks like Mr. Mikos just not anticipating it. Who would anticipate the Amumu level 1 or level 2 invade on the blue buff with no flash?
Oh my. That has got to be the most aggressive play I've ever seen from, like you said, a level 1 or level 2 Amumu there. And it worked out in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, he steals the buff. Mr. Haas doesn't see Amumu ever take the red buff. Sees him take the blue buff. I wouldn't have expected that. That's hard to anticipate. Doki just galaxy braining all over Mr. Mikos. He may well just get the 3 buff start here. Nunu, of course, still going to be power farming, though. He does get his Scromp and Wolves. He's actually up on farm right now. Amumu, not the fastest jungle clear. Not known for his early game.
But he is pretty fast to make a gank here. Gonna get the knockup onto Not Finny anymore. The hook comes through onto Photography Raptor. But the first blood finally goes the way of Mr. Mikos, respectively.
Yeah, you take my blue buff, I take your support. How about that? Go ahead and gank your lane. Just kill that Thresh. Not Finny anymore, burns the flash and goes down anyway. Always want to hold the flash if it's not going to make a difference. That's always going to be a mistake because at least you have flash up for the next gank. In this case, not Finny anymore. Now a vulnerable target. We saw Mr. Mikos run the gank train on this bot lane last game. And now that he knows the summoner is blown, I think we can anticipate that
he'll be back.
Going to be bot lane again and again and maybe again and maybe again.
Speaking of being somewhere, this Nunu actually potentially looking mid here. We're going to see the miss knock of Rebel Goblins. Ignite comes down onto him as well. And Mr. Mikos very close with the root. His Q doesn't do just enough damage. Now he's incredibly low. And Doki, for the win, is trying to make his way there. Throws down the Tantrum. I don't quite think, yeah, no Lantern. Oh, Flay in the bot lane from Not Finny anymore. We see the knockup from Sad Lantern. Photography Raptor's taken very low. The bomb doing quite a bit of work. Ignite now down in terms of the tool set for Not Finny anymore.
And we see a tragedy in the mid lane during that gank. Bubba Gumps had the brittle onto Baby Rope Money, but did not actually auto-attack the Syndra to proc it. I think we saw the Ornn auto-attack a minion
Another
instead.
hook. Got Sad Lantern and Not Finny anymore just teasing each other. Not really any engages, though.
It's weird seeing Sad Lantern get hooked by Thresh. It's hard. You assume that it's going to be Sad Lantern on Thresh. It's just not working out that way.
It's in the name, it's in the game. What a shame. It puts more pressure to the pain when you see the other Thresh hook a minion right afterwards.
Yeah. Not showing you how it's done in this case. But Mr. McCoss definitely showing how an early game jungling is done. Again, there's a flash blown in the mid lane that Syndra actually had to go defensively because of the Nunu gank. Well played, if not for the kill.
Speaking of the mid lane, Bubba Gump here making a very heavy rotation, actually down at the bot side tri-bush. Curious to see if he's going to be able to pick anything up. Rukter here using that jump pretty early. Going to get out of that very clean.
Yeah, you really want to be trying to find the Thresh there. That's, I think, who you're looking for, and it just so happens that Not Finny anymore is off warding into no man's land, so Bubba Gumps roams down and doesn't find the flashless immobile member. Instead finds a rocket jump Tristana, able to get out of there. Easy.
Good pop-up from Sad Lantern there. Almost a root as well from Photography Raptor.
And I'm going to be keeping my eye on Mr. McCoss. He's
no. They've got vision.
He's snowballing.
Not if anymore throws that hook. He's going to miss. Don't know if they can make the removal. Oh, the knock-up, though, from Rakan. That's going to be the grave as Mr. McCoss picks up another kill onto Not Finny anymore. Again.
Flashless Thresh. What did we say? You get that gank, you blow the flash, you come back in, and you say, oh, I'll just kill you a second time. Mr. McCoss totally taking advantage of the fact that that first gank worked so well. And now I bet we're going to see the Nunu looking towards mid lane soon enough, because that's also a flashless Syndra. One thing to look out for is it's a level 6 flashless Syndra, and a level 4 Nunu ganking level 6 Syndra may be at risk of going boom.
Yeah, that definitely could be one of the prevalent issues there. Hopefully seeing Mr. McCoss start stepping up Capitap a little bit of XP. He has missed here.
Yeah, only a level down on the Amumu, despite being up 2 kills. You take that trade every day of the week, you're going to be able to go farm up your jungle and catch up pretty quickly. Catch-up experience, a fantastic feature in League of Legends. Always great. You can just go farm a camp and say, hey, you know how you farm 4 more camps than me? I farmed my one later than you, so I get to be the same level as you.
There's a lot of questions when we start really digging into what's going on in League, and that's one of them I never really want to take a look at.
One thing we haven't taken a look at much this game is the top lane. It's been Alawi into Kale, and so far, not a whole lot of action there. Kale down a little bit, but not a whole...
Maybe Rope Bunny. He doesn't have the E there, so no real good follow-up for him.
Yeah, and this Syndra's also super low on mana. Bubba Gumps has nothing to worry about. Syndra can't even do a full combo with the mana bar that depleted. Pressing ultimate is about all the Syndra can do, and when you aren't able to press a Q or 2 to lead up to it, it just won't do that much damage.
Ooh. But yeah, back to this top lane. I actually see Featherfurs with that E there. Throws down the Leap of Faith pretty aggressively to push Skelly P back under that turret there. Oh, great job with the Unstoppable from Ornn there. Pressuring out, making sure the hook doesn't come through from Thresh.
Yeah, very well timed. Very great use of that skill. It was sad when they removed it from Ornn. They've added it back. It gives him just that little bit of outplay potential when he gets ganked or hooked or anything like that. Making sure, hey, you tried to hook me? I don't care.
Now,
you know what? Can we talk about that Alawi ult for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't do that. Just don't do that. The one on the Spirit, just kill the Spirit. You can kill the Spirit without your ult. I'm not sure about what that was. That's boredom maybe, but that cooldown's too valuable to use in that way.
Oh, not Finny anymore. Not quite hitting any of these hooks here. Not really getting a leeway into any fight of which that he wants to. Mr. McCoss on that sideline just waiting though.
Yeah, and they do just see the Rift Herald get taken, so they know Moo's on the top side of the map. I think that is Mr. McCoss's cue to say, oh, you're up there? Well, let me take this Mountain Dragon. Very, very good early buff. It gives, proportional to other dragons, probably the most stats, especially on a team with an Ornn. Because Ornn getting a little bit of extra armor and MR when he's building Abyssal Mass Sunfire Cape just becomes impossibly tanky.
Oh, Rift Herald gonna come down pretty much immediately from Doki for the win. Gonna shuffle some gold into the top lane here. Curious to see what kind of impact that's gonna make. Gonna go both ways here. Does not look like it. Maybe looking for the dive. We see the Rift go down. E comes through from Feathers for Doki for the win. Gonna get poked out a little bit as Turt does it as well, but no quite great follow-up there. Ooh, speaking of follow-up, Sad Lantern actually with a swift knock-up in return there. Rukter taking actually very low, nigh below half health there.
And smart out of DDL to not overcommit to that play. With the Lantern on the ground, Tristana has her ultimate, she has the rocket jump. You never want to try and like flash in to secure that kill or anything because Tristana's going to go right back out. She actually even has the barrier, which is
Hook
wild.
comes through there. We see the flash forward with the quickness as well as Featherstorm. Rookter going to be rooted in the process, taking very low. Teleport coming through, but not before Sad Lantern finally picks him up with that ignite. Doki for the win with the Sad Mummy, though, in the back with the teleport. Sad Lantern now going to be chased out, not anymore. Actually going to hit that hook there. And Doki for the win, finally picking something up for Team Rawr.
You know, I gotta say it. If Doki didn't have teleport, he doesn't get that kill. That is one kill secured by teleport instead of flash. Put it on the scoreboard. Like, maybe he knows.
Teleport 1, flash 0.
Yeah, I don't think there's a moment where Flash would have secured him a kill. He hasn't died yet. There's no time when Flash would have saved his life. That is teleport making a meaningful difference so far in this game.
I hate it. It's not right. It's not right, Cole. There's just something not right.
Look, all I'm gonna say is that teleport definitely is going to become less valuable as time goes on compared to Flash. Flash is a team fight winning play. Teleport is like a split push play, but you don't really want a Mumu like pushing in a side lane generating pressure.
Splitting,
That's
yeah.
just not a Mumu's use. On a champion who likes being in a side lane, another allows it.
All right, here it is again. E comes
That
out,
did a lot of
Spirit
damage.
uses a Leap of Faith. It did a lot of damage, and that's great. It's going to pressure Skelly P off, but at the end of the day, Skelly's just going to sit under turret here, going to dodge out those tentacles, and then go right back to farming.
Yeah, the issue you have to look out for is that this is a Kale who has some sustain. You have that W to keep yourself topped off, you have a Corrupting Pot, and now also the Bilgewater Cutlass. So, I don't think there's anything Bubblegums needs to be afraid of here. He's going to get taken a little low, but... What's
He's already scaling towards Faceless Mask, so not really going to have to worry here after that's completed, so nothing to mention there. Oh, both junglers now bot lane here. Hook going to miss from that Thresh there. Here's see who's going to gank what. Oh, Sad Lantern almost trying to get it in the middle of that.
That would have been a sick play.
Ooh,
That was
Tarky
a really
Raptor
good
with
effort.
good follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah, both junglers scrapping, Ornn recalling, so Mr. McCoss unfortunately going to have to back out, but we see...
Oh, Hook comes through onto Sad Lantern. They're going to stack that bomb up. Going to take quite a bit of a hit there from that one. Beneath half health. Now Mr. McCoss with the snowball. Not quite going to hit Rookter there. Very close, though. Ooh, Sad Lantern stepping up there. Actually going to be hit by the hook by Not Benny Flake. Comes through bomb as well. Oh, Buster shot paired through with the bomb. Rookter picks that one up for himself quite easily. Now Baby Rope Bunny here trying to pair through. Ooh, Call of the Forge God from behind. I'm going to get the double knockup onto Baby Rope Bunny and Not anymore. We see the damage. Hook comes through onto the ADC. We do see Amumu's doing so much work, but not for absolute zero. The double bomb. Oh, but the call back there from Photography Raptor to pick up some kills. And now Bubba Gumps just respawning. It's going to be, I believe, 3 for 3 there in that entire fight as a whole.
And a wild play from
Yeah.
Big Diet Lizard. They have their support dead. They know they're engaging into it. They do it anyway, and then they trade 3 for 3. That's confidence right there. You got to give them props for it. It's usually not a great idea to engage into a number.
Rookter with the clap. We do see the shield. Bubba Gump's going to get chased out potentially. Not quite. No jump to follow through. What a shame.
In any case, when you have Ornn and Kale on your...
Wait a second. Sad Lantern with the quickness, trying to move forward. Gonna get the W and the ignite there. Throws down the auto. The bomb comes through, but it's nothing to Sad Lantern. He gets his revenge.
He doesn't let me say what I want to say either. Gosh dang it, Sad Lantern. Why are you going and getting a kill? Oh,
And a knock up in the mid lane. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There's no follow there. Go ahead.
with Ornn and Kale on your team, all you want to do is accelerate the game, right? 3 for 3 trades mean more gold in both teams' pockets, and that means both teams start scaling harder. When you're winning the scaling war by virtue of having these champs like Ornn and Kale, trades favor you so heavily. 3 for 3 isn't really like 3 for 3. It's closer to a 6 for 3 in favor of DDL.
Ooh,
Anytime they're able
anymore.
to
Getting
like
the hook and the double play there. Baby Rope Bunny, they're not quite going to hit the stun. They're able to get out of that one quite nicely by Photography Raptors. Positioning after the play. You do have Mr. McCoss. No snowball, though.
Skelly P actually starting to
Yeah. I like it.
The Gunblade
like
is
it a lot.
complete. That's big for sustain. Make sure that the Kale can't quite get poked out by those tentacles. Level 11 coming in super soon for that Kale as well. It'll be interesting to see how that affects the lane dynamic. Skelly actually has fared better in this laning phase compared to last game when they got the counter pick with Mordecai.
Over the wall, Doki for the win coming through there. He's trying to get on this backline. We do see Absolute Zero and a route to stop him directly in his tracks. Photography Raptor with the Autox. A good call, the Forge God, to pressure this backline now. I think that Dragon is all but secured for Dirty Diet Lizard there. Yep. Gonna pick up another Dragon. Looks like Ocean is gonna it looks like Ocean's gonna grace us on the Rift here now.
Teleport 1, Flash 1.
Okay, there you go. That's where it was necessary. I see now. Very true.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Good knockup from Sad Lantern there. Throws at the Q to get a little bit of the health. Oh, an amazing route from Raptor. Throws down the Featherstorm. Mixer McHoss trying to pressure forward there. No kill gonna go either way there, but so close for Photography Raptor.
And for the first time this game, while that was going down, we see Skelly P actually putting some pressure onto Feathers and Fur. The Kale has hit 11. The Kale is now the winner of that lane. Skelly P.
Oh my god!
It's time for revenge.
On the turret there. Come on. Now Doki for the win. I don't think he's going to be able to really pick him up in the end.
Oh, the flash.
Oh, he flashed. Yeah, that's forced out there. Didn't quite know who was going to be able to follow up. So that is something to work with. Could make a return gang.
Yeah, I don't think Bubblegums needed a flash there, but I respect the safety. You don't want to be the guy that dies solo to the TP Smite Amumu. It's just not something you want on your resume.
That's on your record.
So, I don't think it was needed, but it's better to be safe than sorry there. You don't want to hold flash for next game like we've seen a couple times in this series. So,
Feathers and Fur not quite taking the damage that necessary there. Skelly P returning so quickly. Those tentacles are going to hurt, though.
Yeah, I think the issue, though, is that once Feathers and Fur blows that combo, the Kale has Gunblade, the Kale has Corrupting Pot, another minion wave, and that Kale will be back up to 60% health, and then Kale's going to be winning the fight.
Level 12, 4 levels away. Oh, you see Doki for the win going deep in this backline. Bubblegum's going to slow him. We do see the Brittle proc not going to cancel through. Rookter now coming from the mid lane. Absolute Zero. It does hit, but not for quite a bit there. Nothing too grand happening in the scheme of things.
It does stop the Herald take, though. Rawr had been on the Herald. The Tristana is up there trying to generate some pressure. She's actually swapped into the mid lane while Cinder is bot lane. Not sure if this is a mid-game rotation or an attempt at better laning matchups at 17 minutes, but in any case, Trist is pretty scary. And
the quickness coming through in the box, put down. The Charm's doing some work. Baby Rope Bunny is ignited, but no damage to follow through. The hook happens to hit through the minion wave onto Photography Raptor. There's no follow-up, but that was so subliminally close there.
Yeah, if Baby Rope Bunny had been prepared for that hook.
Oh, the flash from not fitting with the hook, uses the play, pushes off Xayah there to secure the kill onto Sad Lantern. Oh, Baby Gumps there, taking the entire bomb. Gonna get the Brittle Proc, throws down the call. The Forge God Buster Shot comes to him, pushing back. Is able to get the knockup, but Doki, at just the right time, coming through so sparingly, is able to secure that one.
Oh, wow, that hook.
Yeah, that was close.
That hook missed because that other hook earlier hit. That was divine justice. After that hook hit in the middle of the minion wave, that was wild. That one probably, it looked like it was gonna. It just didn't.
Yeah, no, it just didn't.
Photography Raptor living by the skin of their teeth, just holding on barely to clear out that wave. Actually staying in lane here against that Thresh Syndrome. Maybe a little greedy, but we'll see how it goes. Hey,
that's all right. If you gotta be a little greedy just to marginally make your way through it, I guess it's available. Especially with Featherstorm up, though.
Yeah, that's definitely the safety and insurance policy you need. But, gonna point at levels again. Kale up to 13.
Gonna see a hook here onto Sad Lantern. Dashes back to Xayah there. He gets the knock up onto Baby Rope Bunny. We do see Photography Raptor just shred now. It's gonna be killed there. Oop, Leap of Faith coming through here. Doki for the win. The teleport, don't know if it's quite going to get there in time. The turret's destroyed. Divine Judgment comes down to do some damage. Doki for the win, throwing down the Curse of Sadline. Gets that stun as well as the tag there. Feathers and Fur picking that one up for himself. Sad Lantern goes deep, gets the knockup before the hook hits. The quickness comes through. Photography Raptor gets the root, and he's able to pick up another kill in this bot lane, removing the bot lane as a whole. Rift now on the top side. Bubblegump's the only one to respond there. I don't think anything's going to come out of that one, Doki. Oh, except the knockup.
Yeah, not much to be done. The orange shows up. Amumu's out of health. Alawi's out of mana. The Herald gets some damage onto that turret. But in the meantime, Dirty Diet Lizard able to take that bot turret. They get a successful dive off onto the Syndra and Thresh. They pick up a couple kills. They're still scaling. They're still getting towards late game. They're actually up by 1.2k gold. That may as well be a 7k gold lead when your picks are this Kale and this Ornn. I know I sound like a broken.
Yeah, you sound mad almost.
I'm not mad. It's just
it's true.
They're winning. They're winning very hard.
Actually, surprisingly, even though you have the Kale and Ornn on the map, so much of this pressure actually, Photography Raptor 5-1 right now.
Yeah.
Oops, Sad Lantern hooked out there. No follow-up, though. Curious to see that one. You do see Feathers and Fear here now in the bot lane. They want to contest this dragon. You see another hook going its way. You see over the wall, a movement comes through. Sad Lantern trying to dash away. Call the Forge God coming back. Gonna get the double knockup. We see Absolute Zero in the back line. Not quite in the right position, though. We see the box finally coming down before Leap of Faith makes its way onto the Rift. Kale trying to pressure through here, but before it happens, Bubblegums is taken down for a double kill. Skelly P in this back line here now, finally making some impact. Turns his attention to Feathers for forces the flash out. Doki for the win also has to move off this one. Doesn't want to take it directly. Feathers for taking it incredibly low. It's going to go on the way to Photography Raptor. They turn their attention to Doki's for get the knockup. Not quite, though, on a Sad Lantern. Skelly P forces the flash there. Now Doki's for incredibly low. Photography Raptor with the damage is able to pick up another double kill for the side of Dirty Diet Lizard. And now they turn their attention onto this Ocean Drake with no congestion.
For a moment there, it looked like Feathers and Fur on the Alawi was going to carry that team.
Yeah.
Fight. We saw the Leap of Faith put in so much work once again, but after that Alawi ult
not quite.
Rawr runs out of gas. There's still a Kale who's alive. Kale doesn't need an ultimate ability. She just right-clicks on you. She's got that Gunblade. She's able to clean up that fight, put in a ton of damage, and that Flashless Amumu able to be chased down. The Tristana has to leap away, and now it is sole point for Dirty Diet Lizard. They've got one of 3 different kinds of dragons. They're looking to get that next Ocean Dragon, and this game is in their hands.
Yeah, it's completely playing into the win condition for court of Dirty Diet Lizard right now. You've got everyone you need to be scaling, completely scaled up. Skelly P and Bubblegums especially has just hit those Ornn items, so he's going to be a monster of a menace on this Rift now with just the absolutely absurd tanky stats he can have. And as this goes on, he's going to just start spreading the wealth, especially onto Photography Raptor there. That is going to be so obnoxious. Kale, of course, like you said, making the way, just doing so well. Ooh. Knockup from Sad Lantern. We see the play, but another knockup comes through, and then suddenly a triple knockup comes through. Call of Fortune God comes down as well as the box and the quickness, but it's not necessary. Bubblegums picks that one up pretty easily.
Maybe 1 or 2 more large cooldowns than necessary to kill the Thresh, but I respect the enthusiasm, you know? Did we need the Ornn Horn? Probably not.
Probably
Did we
not.
Like the Ornn Horn? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Bubblegums, look at this. Look at this. So tanky.
Yeah.
Unable to take anything off him.
As soon as those upgrades come in for Ornn, he's terrified.
Feathers and Fur. We do see the Leap of Faith. Skelly Piece very low there. Actually may not get out of this one quite alive. Comes through with the Divine Judgment. It's going to hit. Another E misses its way out, but not enough healing for Skelly there. What a shame.
Yeah, that'll allow you.
Not quite 16 yet.
Winning the 1v1. 16 will be big for Kale. It's the Death Stance putting in a ton of work for her as well. Kale really wants to get some healing reduction. You can actually go for a Mortal Reminder. And Morellonomicon, not bad either. Both items will do the job for this Kale. Looks like Skelly P is going to go for the Gwynsues instead.
Yeah, the Gwynsues is going to be absolutely... I mean, that's going to be your death sentence if you run into that Kale after a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it follows the idea of, do you really need to mitigate the enemy's healing if you can just do triple the damage to them? You've heard everyone say that before. That's a common saying, right?
Oh yeah, just another of those League of Legends problems that I'm not quite going to look into.
Yeah, so Kale's just going to buy that Ginsu's, and maybe that'll be the 1v1 sway. The Alawi does kind of fall off in these 1v1s eventually. She's not really going to get much stronger than when she has her Cleaver and her Death Stance. And building tanky stats is not going to matter much into a level 16 Kale. So Feathers and Fur still winning 1v1 for now, but the question is for how much.
Ooh, looking like Rawr, though, coming back a little bit. They've got some turret control, picked up the bot lane, managed to pull through. Curious to see if they can get this mid lane as well. That's sitting pretty low and pretty.
Yeah, both mid lane turrets actually super low at this point. It's just a matter of time before they fall. The static gold tends to start dropping as the game gets later. The death timers get longer. The objectives start mattering more. We've got Baron on the map. Dirty Diet Lizard can take that so quickly with a Xayah and Kale. We've got the Soul Point Ocean Dragon coming up in a minute and a half. That's going to be a big point of contention for both of these teams. Rawr really, really can't afford to give that one up. If they do, it's going to be almost insurmountable. So they're going to be trying to fight over that. They're going to need a big ult from Alawi. That's really what you've got to look out for here. Feathers and Fur is their win condition.
Now, speaking of Feathers and Fur, gets that E off. No leap of faith this time to follow up. Saving it. Oh, flash hook over the wall from Notfini. Gets the double play. We do see Curse of the Sad Mummy and the box put down. Featherstorm is up. Sad Lantern is taken so low, but another hook onto Photography Raptor secures that kill for Rawr there. Oh, the blast cone. Trying to aggress onto Feathers and Fur and just denied by the blast cone. I love it.
Yeah, and while this is happening, Rooktor is actually split pushing in the bot lane. When everything should finally be going in the way of Dirty Diet Lizard, they seem to be losing their grip on the game. They're giving up kills, they're giving up structures. Photography Raptor gets picked. They did a lot of damage. The one silver lining there is that 1,000 gold shutdown actually went on to Notfini anymore. The Fresh swiped that kill with an auto attack. Something you really don't want to have happen if you're Rawr. You'd really, really prefer that kill to go onto the Syndra. Maybe even the Amumu, but
now, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, but I think they're just willing to give this one up. Teleport Amumu, doing good to his name.
Here comes the Alawi teleport. Looks like Rawr really sending everyone, but with Skelly P in the top lane, Skelly P does have teleport. The Kale can be here.
Just like too late.
Nope. Okay.
Nothing. That was a pretty clean secure.
Gotta be honest. Feel like if I can get the Ocean Soul, I might try and put up more of a fight. I'm not even like losing this game that hard, but waiting a little longer, not necessarily a mistake. When Kale's so close to 16, a big pivotal fight like that, if you lose the fight, maybe you give up Baron and suddenly the game's a little sketchy. Whereas if you just wait a minute and say, you know what, we can delay 4 minutes. We'll wait for the level 16 Kale before trying to take anything too sketchy.
I'll say this, though. This game's gone on longer. We just saw Ornn hit 14, and look at Photography Raptor.
Yep.
Sitting on the Molten Edge. This is all going to start pairing pretty darn well. Like you said, as the minutes go by, you're just simply playing to the win condition of Dirty Diet Lizard.
One thing to be concerned about, though, is that now that Ornn has upgraded the Infinity Edge, we are out of Ornn items to be upgraded as Ornn levels up again. He'll hit 15, and there is nothing he can upgrade. The scale going towards a Ginsu's that can't be upgraded. That's a Mortal Reminder coming in that can't be upgraded. You need something that can actually get those stats. It's so much value. It's so worth it to buy an item that Ornn can do. And we see Mr. Makas actually going back to base and picking up a purchase, going for what looks like a Dead Man's Plate, also not upgradable. Even if you're missing out on the passive, it may be counterintuitive, but a Sunfire Cape isn't actually a terrible purchase. The 1,500 gold worth of stats can be worth missing out on that Immolation passive when you already have it on your Cinderhole.
Let's just say Dirty Diet Lizards, they're flexing. They're flexing. They don't need it. They're trying to prove themselves here, Cole.
Yeah, that's what it is, for sure.
That's what it is. Trust me.
Something important to be aware of. Anytime you pick Ornn, you got to try and look for a build where an Ornn item comes in second or third. That's the way you make sure to take full advantage of that pick. Right now, it looks like Dirty Diet Lizard not really maximizing that power. It's mostly the Kale that they're depending on for the scaling. Of course, Ornn is Omega tanky with the upgraded Abyssal and Sunfire, but...
Speaking of Kale, it's time. She's finally hit her level 16 power spike. She's going to be continuously running these side lanes, I assume. Oh, hook there from Thresh. No follow-up, though. But like I said, it's finally time for the full maxed out Kale passive.
Yeah, so this Kale is a team fight menace, a split push menace. The Executioner's Calling going to help in those one-on-ones with Feathers and Fur. We'll see if Kale is able to finally pull out the win in that 1v1 against the Alawi. It's been a Spirit Visage picked up, but that's not going to make too much of a difference. We're going to have to see if the healing is enough to overcome the grievous wounds. But
yeah. Either way, seeing some high pressure mid. We've been actually here for quite a while. Both teams running back and forth. The vision kind of leaning more on the side of Rawr here, especially around this Baron pit, but I assume that could be cleared out any which day. Scaly P made his way down, but there was no real team fight to follow into there.
When in doubt, we Nayram.
Yeah.
That's the rules. You don't know what to do, go mid. That's what both teams are doing right here. We see some thresh hooks landing, but they keep going on to this Ornn and Nunu, doing their job standing in front. You really don't want to commit to trying to kill the Gargoyle Nunu or the very, very tanky Ornn. That's a great way to blow a bunch of cooldowns, do 50% of someone's health bar in the process. So, yeah, I mean, just sit back, farm, time. Still kind of on the side of TDL, but at this point, like, they've kind of scaled. Like, level 16 Kayla's here, Ornn items here. It's time for them to turn on the lights, turn on the gas, and start pressuring.
Well, speaking of pressure, Rawr putting some heavy pressure onto this Baron here, looking to get it underway. It's pretty evident, though, that DDL definitely knows it's taking place. Sad Lantern stepping up there. No hook. Look, you see, we do have the snowball, though, from Mr. McHoss. Finally coming in, gets the knock. You see Doki go in, gets the Curse of Sad Money. Call the Forge Gods coming through, as well as Absolute Zero. Photography Raptor has finally arrived as Sad Lantern goes down, throws out the Featherstone there. The pull, though, as well as Skelly P. Now they turn their attention to Feathers and Fur. Gonna go the way of Photography Raptor again, and that is 4 members of Rawr down, as this Baron looks like easy pizza cake for DDL.
Yeah, Rawr gets the engage, they get the Amu, he gets the 3-man ultimate. The issue, it's onto Nunu, Ornn, and Rakan. The Xayah doesn't have to fear anything. Kale, Skelly P comes in from the back on that fight and cleans up the Feather Storm, the feathers flying everywhere, and then a Kale that comes in undisturbed with a flank like that. That's just curtains for Rawr. They are not going to be able to win that fight. And now they're going to get the Baron, they're going to get a couple turrets, it's going to be Ocean Soul that's going to make their tanks even more unkillable. And just like that, in one play, Dirty Diet Lizard, they are in firm control of this. It is going to be very, very hard for them to manage this one.
I like the movement here by not filling anymore. He's able to pick up this mid turret. They're looking possibly for a chase. You see the jump made through by Rookter as well as the Q from Amumi. He's gonna throw down the gargoyles though. Gosh, he is massive. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
I think he just tanked 7 or 8 seconds of a 3-item Tristana auto-attacking him. He almost got to a third of his health bar. Almost. That Ornn is unkillable. Ocean Dragon, it's over as far as trying to kill that Ornn goes. You're just going to need to kill his team and then have your entire 5-man squad wail on that Ornn for another couple seconds before he's going to go down to anything.
I have to say, yeah, if you're Rawr here, your best bet is you've got to really find some sort of pick, some application where you get Photography Raptor alone, or he's just not quite there, and you just unleash it all. It's all got to go down immediately. If you let him survive, this 9-2 Xayah is just going to run train on your whole team.
Yeah, and the issue again is Featherstorm is such a powerful defensive spell, and this Kale ult also a powerful defensive spell as well. So even if you do find Xayah alone, she can use Featherstorm to buy some time. She's got Flash up, she hasn't really been threatened in these fights. So Featherstorm plus Flash, you get out of there, the team collapses. And even if you kill the Xayah, there's still the Kale.
Wait a second, what are you talking about?
I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Xayah absolutely just got smashed. And now we see not really anymore comes through with another hook to take out the rest of the bot lane. 2 hooks from Not Finny anymore. Well, actually, Doki for the win actually paired that one first. I'll give him that with the bandage. Came through. But they caught Photography Raptor out.
I'm convinced that happened just to make me immediately wrong. They heard you earlier when you were talking about warding the red buff. That time they heard me saying it's so hard to pick a Xayah. That's a pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't connect them much. Like, they get the kill. They get the kill on the Rakan, too. While that happens, Ornn is actually top lane pushing a turret. Kale gets a turret bot lane, so they get 2 kills, but they lose 2 turrets. They stall out some of this Baron timer, but they're not able to actually get anything for themselves. And Ornn's health bar even go down there?
No, of course not.
I thought Thresh Hook did at least 100 or 200 damage, but I could swear it did 0 there.
At the end of the day, Ornn's health bar just becomes a solid line at a certain point. It doesn't even have the little black dashes that designate how much of thousands of health you have. My gosh, he is a monster.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's so hard to kill. If he has a team behind him, he's the front line of just the end. Ocean Dragon 2, it's crazy valuable here. It's healing for damage dealt, healing for part of your health. The Sword is taking damage.
Yep.
Like,
Speaking of the Orin, coming through with Call of the Forge God, not quite going to hit. You see the quickness and the box laid down there. Fur Fire is going to come through finally with the Leap of Faith. It's right on top of that Orin there. Now the Absolute Zero in the backline. You get the hook onto this Orin. He's actually finally down, going the way of Rookter. Now Skelly P arriving to the fight is able to pick something up, but not before Rookter just sitting in this backline, tearing through one at a time. Photography Raptors back up. It's going to go the way of Featherspur, but not before Rookter picks up another kill to make a triple on the Rakan. And as she turns her attention to Skelly P, it's going to be a quadra now.
wow. Wow. They just won a 5v5 team fight into a Ocean Soul, Kale, Ornn, and now they're actually going to be able to push. I don't think they can end, but they should be looking at getting an inhibitor or two here.
That's so huge.
That's a 5-for-1. That was just the fight that Rawr needed. They were able to get everything done. The front to back, the Ornn actually went down. There wasn't quite enough damage getting onto the Rawr backline from this Kale and the Xayah. They weren't able to get through the Amumu quite in time. Doki did a lot of work with that Curse of the Sad Mummy. And just like that, Dirty Diet Lizard is in trouble. They're out of inhibitors.
Well, they got one in the top lane, but these two in the bot and mid are it's completely done for. Now, Elder Drake's going to be on this Rift pretty darn shortly, and with a showing like that, you have to ask if Dirty Diet Lizard can handle something like Rookter here on this Tristana.
It's a good question. We'll see. I mean, the answer is yes, right? They
Yeah.
should be able to. In almost all worlds, they should be winning these 5v5 team fights easily. The issue there is that Rawr just found all the spells in the right places. The Amumu ult got where it needed to go, the Illaoi did a ton of damage, and the Trist and Syndra were both just unthreatened through the entire fight, able to free fire. And when that happens, it's just hard for any team to win. When your backline has frontline diving onto it, and your frontline isn't getting to their backline, that makes the fight harder to take. But we do see Rabadon's upgraded on Kale now. We do see Nunu still building, getting tankier. They're still scaling. They're still getting there. It's still progress for Dirty Diet Lizard. And that Rabadon's is going to be absolutely massive for Skelly P. That's a 500 AP Kale now. It's a little terrifying. They should win these fights. We'll see if they're able.
Oop, Jokey for the win there. Not quite going to hit the bandage, but the hook from Not Anywhere does hit. We do see the play come through as well as the box and we put down. Taken low in the backside. You got Mictor Mihash so low, but Skelly P around the back now. You see Call of the Forge God gonna get the knock up onto the Amumu there, as well as Featherstorm coming through, waiting for the pullback. It's gonna get the full route onto Richter, but he's able to just barely take out Photography Raptor with that Buster Shot combo. It's gonna be a 2-for-1 in favor of Dirty Diet Lizard, but now with the Elder Drake up, you have to wonder who's gonna be able to take this one without congestion.
Look at the minions inside Dirty Diet Lizard.
Yeah, I see that.
If they're not able to recall, they can lose the game. Rooktor is going down mid lane. Someone needs to go base or they're going to lose.
Oh, Rookter, yeah, making that impact there. I like the tried
knuckle. So quick.
Oh, it's a teleport. Oh, it's interrupted. Tristana taking this one out. She's able to just sit on this Nexus. No one was thinking, no one was making the precedent to back, and as a result, Rawr takes it in such an unpredictable and unprecedented way.
Oh, you gotta watch your base. All you need is Kale to recall and wave clear, and you're fine. Or Ornn can recall. Anyone can recall. Just one person. You've got the 2-for-1. You're still gonna be 3-for-2 on the Dragon. Dirty Diet Lizard just misses the fact that they've got supers pushing into their base. The teleport gets interrupted by the Syndra Scatter the Weak, and just like that, Rawr, despite being into the Kale and Ornn both at level 8, they're able to get that sneaky backdoor and end the game. A well-executed call, well done by Rooktor to go for the end. What a mistake by Dirty Diet Lizard. They had that game within the palm of their hand, and it slips right through. Well played by Rawr.
And with that, both of these teams now equal in standings in this series. We're going to have to take it to a game 3 So as we get that set up through a short organizing period, please stay tuned in what will be, I assume, the most exciting game of this finale. All right, welcome back to Game 3 of Dirty Diet Lizard versus Team Rawr, taking this 1-1 across the board in what was an absolutely unprecedented finish in Game 2 with the just base rush there by Rookter on Tristana. We have to see who's going to finally swing things out of balance and get us out of this tiebreaker.
Yeah, that game too. The best way to put it is that Dirty Diet Lizard clutched defeat from the jaws of victory. They had everything. They were going to get the Elder Dragon. They were going to be able to Baron. They just forgot to recall and stop the minion wave pushing into their Nexus. Ruktor intelligently saw that minion wave going unchecked, walked it down the mid lane, ended the game. Big mistake from Dirty Diet Lizard, costing them a series win, and now we find ourselves in a Game 3 with picks flying off the table already, bans targeting the same people in the same ways, and oh boy.
Oh gosh. All right.
Oh boy.
DDL gets their Thresh. I like that. Sad Lantern finally on Thresh. I know the Morgana is picked by Rawr. Yeah, yeah. That's a support Morgana, everyone.
You really think so?
No, I don't.
No. I am quite certain, in fact, that that is going to be the Smite Tele Morgana jump. I'm excited.
You're excited?
I'm so excited.
Oh gosh. How do you even appropriately make a good gank with a Morgana?
By having Flash. That's the thing, is that Morgana's utility in middle and late game fights is Flash R. That's her thing. She gets in the middle of fight, she Flash Rs, pop Zanya's. Either you sit there, you get stunned, you take a ton of damage because she gets nuts AP ratios on her R, or you all have to scatter and like respect the zone control, and then it makes it really hard to team fight because the Morgana forces you to all run away. With Teleport, you see, I don't know. I'm curious. I want to see how it happens.
Well, definitely be up in the air there. Other than that, moving on, DDL finishing off their bot lane and what looks like to be pairing through in the jungle. They're going to get a pretty simple meta comp going right here through with the Thresh and Misfortune running in their bot lane. Jarvan, of course, as well, pairing through with great engages. Rawr going to be running it back with Rookter, I believe, on the Tristana again, which at this point, it worked pretty darn well. Got that quadra kill in one fight and managed to actually end the game for his team appropriately. Alawi also going to be gracing her way onto the Rift as well again.
I have a couple questions for Dirty Diet Lizard's draft already. I'm just not sure about Jarvan. I mean, in theory, he's a really good pick into a champion without Flash, but Mr. Kloss has done so much work on Nunu in these first two games. I wouldn't want to deviate from that pick if I were them. If I was allowed to have that pick, I would want that pick. It's been super powerful in these games, and going away from it, it's a little interesting. I think they're going for a big team fight comp, and that's why they want to do it. The other question is, why not ban Alawi? Alawi has done so much against them in these first two games, and letting Rawr have it for Game 3, it's interesting. I think I would prefer to try to see something else from Feathers and because this Alawi has been really the power pick in this series. It's done the most damage, it's created the most pressure, it's been solo taking top turret relatively quickly. Opting into that lane for a third time is a little scary for Dirty Diet Lizard. We're going to see if Skelly P has a secret third counter pick to the Alawi in the pocket. Kale worked relatively well last game.
But we're not going to see it.
To be... Well, it was going to be banned. I imagine that's a Kale ban.
That's a Kale ban. Okay.
Chat confirmed.
So, ban. More Skelly P options here now. Of course, like you said, he's not going to be able to run Mordekaiser like he did in Game 1. He's not going to be able to run Kale like he did in Game 2. So like you said, we're going to have to see what the third champ in the basket is going to be.
And we see a Nunu ban coming out from Dirty Diet Lizard. That's a respectable ban, probably a sane ban. Same with the Amumu. It seems as if they are anticipating that this Morgana may not go jungle. It may well be that Rawr has picked the Morgana, trying to bait that it might be jungle, and then intend on sending it elsewhere. We'll have to see with these last two picks, but if that is in fact Morgana jungle, then those are two actually wasted bans. It's not. I'm so sad.
Fooled. You got fooled, Cole.
Oh,
you got
I'm
fooled
so
like
sad.
everyone else.
I'm depressed.
Doki is Doki looks like he's going to go Zach, with actually, in all regards, is a very, very good champion at the moment right now in terms of team-oriented jungle ganking. Coming through with him, that Frog of War with the Elastic Slingshot can always be super detrimental.
Yeah, Zach is a very powerful pick. Flash maybe a little less essential on him compared to someone like Morgana or a Mumu, so the TP Smite's going to be a little more decent, I think. Maybe? Question mark? It's hard to say.
It's always a question mark with Doki. That's all I'm going to say. You never know how the team is going to impact.
Top lane, probably. Could be Vlad Blind, but Vlad Blind runs into a lot of problems.
Either way, yeah, we're about to see Dirty Diet Lizard. They're going to throw through with the Rumble. That could potentially be flexed, and they could rotate either mid or top both those respective picks. There's a lot of AP damage, which I do like to see. It puts a bit of a counter to Misfortune in terms of that strong AD presence that she has. Still not quite sure where they're going to run it, and that actually could be good because they get to decide here based off of Rawr's last pick, maybe.
And Dirty Diet Lizard really has drafted the quintessential press R comp here. With Jarvan, Misfortune, Rumble, and Vladimir, that is 4 massive AoE teamfight ultimates. All they really want to do is press all their ultimates onto Rawr's priority targets, and then they'll kill all of them. That's the core idea. We'll see if they're able to execute on it. There's a lot of disruption from Rawr, and Alawi getting in the back line and Zach getting in there can make things a little tough. Misfortune struggles to just stand still and press her ultimate ability into Zach and Xerath in particular. Both have the range to kind of punish her for putting herself in one spot. But that's the idea. Rawr, on the other hand, they're kind of doing what they've been doing. The Alawi is still the Alawi. Zach is a good early jungler. Xerath poke. Morgana Tristana is a decent lane. Not a ton of kill pressure, but bindings do often spell doom if you get hit by one. Because by the time you're unbinded, you've actually had time to respawn.
Yeah, so you're right. No, what I have to say though is DDL definitely has a comp. Like you said, that's pretty standard. The press R concept is pretty big there. Playing around a lot of windows, that's definitely going to be the concept with DDL here as they get into this third game. They're probably going to focus a lot of the gold and pressure here onto the Misfortune. Of course, I would look towards the Vladimir or the Rumble if he manages to get ahead against this Alawi. Both of those can do some absurd amount of damages coming through in any teamfight-oriented presence, which is kind of good because it seems like Rawr really does like it to take it to the kind of 5v5 run it against each other kind of mindset.
Yeah, it's going to come down to execution for sure in this one. It's hard to say that either team has an edge in draft. I really do like Rawr's Alawi, and I want to give them a little bit of a skew just because of how much work it's done so far. We'll have to see how Vladimir does as an answer to it. He, of course, is another champion that just wants to sit back and scale towards late game. He's not really going to try and fight or kill the Alawi. He's just going to try and survive the Alawi. His wave clear, not the most exceptional. His E can do work, but he might have to put himself at risk to use it on the entire minion wave. Just have to step between the melee and caster creeps to use it to push. So Alawi is going to be able to have something to say about that.
Either way, Vladimir, of course, like you said, he may not want to be taking fights in his lane, but of course, when he gets those team fights presence like we talked about, it's going to run all his way, of course, with something like the Hemo Plague, making a very detrimental impact across the board and kind of spreading and splitting some of these fights around.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just team fight versus kind of team fight. That's the idea.
Sure.
We'll see. Rawr definitely has pick potential. DDL has pick potential with this Thresh, but a little bit less. They're going to have to commit bigger pools a lot of time.
I'm not quite sure if that's what I'm seeing still, though. The Morgana has been picked out. And the Morgana is currently, I say, in the hands of Doki in this jungle. He may have not fooled you, Cole. It may be Zach's support.
Have they done the old Morgana route? Is that... No, they're just going to trade.
Yeah, that's my belief too. I mean, it'd be almost impeccably just, I don't know why you would not trade. We've discussed already why Morgana especially cannot kind of pull through here into some of these ganks, especially compared to something like Jarvan with Flag Dragon into the Cataclysm. That's always going to be more apparent. Morgana definitely could get through in some team fights, throwing those chains down, stopwatch where Zhonya's herself, but I'm not seeing the trade, Cole. Not yet, at least.
The LCS rules are 30 seconds. We've got 7 seconds until the trade should be done. There's the trade.
Ah. The weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I thought I was going to have to watch that unfold in some unpredictable way. And at a certain point, I'd be scared of Doki. Doki would show me that Morgana jungle does work somehow.
I'm so sad.
I know you.
I'm so sad. I wanted to see it. Instead, I just get to see Zach. I know what Zach does. He's boring. He flies in. Woo! That's him. That's my Zach. He's too good.
Either way, it's pretty standard base setup though in that jungle there now against the Jarvan. Zach, definitely a better frontliner, does have some very strong engagement, of course, dispersing the team fights just as well. So a standard even matchup. I do think Jarvan comes into a little bit more early.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking elsewise, the Rumble, I thought that was going to go top, but it actually ended up mid against the Xerath.
Yeah, Rumble has become popular in the mid lane. I'm sure most people are aware of it by now. The idea is that Rumble is actually very good at roaming. He has the shield that helps him kind of book it a little quicker, but more importantly, his equalizer is such a powerful tool. It does such good zone control. It makes sure that people can't back off. You lay it behind them, it slows them, and it just does so much freaking damage. If Rumble can go to a lane where he has teammates who can lock someone down, and he can drop the equalizer and layer it on top of a lockdown, then he just thrives. And with a teammate like Thresh, if Thresh lands a hook, that's so many seconds of consecutive CC. If there's an equalizer going along with that Thresh hook, that's a kill every time. And Jarvan too really take advantage of it. And Rumble just has great wave clear. He's able to push the wave in. He probably doesn't have a fantastic matchup into Xerath, who's able to sit back and avoid the flame spitter damage a lot of the time. But still, Rumble's a strong laner. He doesn't have too many exploitable weaknesses, and he can roam very, very well. We'll have to see how Baby Rope Bunny is able to answer that. Xerath, of course, has the increased range on his R as of last season, so he doesn't quite need to walk as far to follow those roams just with ultimate, but Rumble probably going to be doing in more work if he gets all the way there.
Relatively said. I have to say, both these teams, kind of like you kind of pointed out earlier, they have just generally a very simplistic team fight comp in both regards. I'd say pairs better into the way of Dirty Diet Lizard. They have something that's a bit more consistent, or it's a bit more confusing and not quite the same, but it is just as good and applicable if it turns out their direction. But with that, we do have to get into the final game of this series. That will decide who takes home the win tonight here on the Rampage Premade League. With that, though, we're going to be making our way into a short spectator delay. So stay with us and don't click away from that browser as we go through this short loading period. All right, welcome back. Getting into the final game here of this series between Dirty Diet Lizard versus Team Rawr. Everything is on the plate. Everybody's backs are against the wall here. So far, it looks pretty standard as usual. Actually, Dirty Diet Lizard making their way by all 5 members, possibly looking for a counter gank or something.
We've seen some level 1 plays in this series. We saw a First Blood go down when Rooktor decided not to flash away. But looks like DDL this time just sitting and anticipating a level 1 from Rawr.
Hilariously, not happening this time.
Yeah. It's a normal 5 point. One thing to bring up that we didn't bring up when talking draft is I'm excited for it, is we have Sad Lantern finally playing Thresh.
Oh, yeah.
The Cassio ban and the fact that DDL is now on blue side means that they were allowed to take that pick. Rawr decided to give it away. They figured that the Cass, Diana, and Fizz bans were more important. I think that was deserved after what we saw from Bubba Gumps on Cassiopeia in Game 1. So, Sad Lantern finally given the one-trick pick. We see Thresh coming in hot. It's going to be interesting to see how the Thresh main can play this champion. Thresh mains normally do pop off a little harder than you'd think when they get the champion.
Pop off a little harder. That's true. No, I definitely think, though, it's not going to be too easy for him, especially against Not Finny anymore there with the Dark Bindings coming out from this Morgana. You'll have to basically respect the CC that could potentially inhibit you, which will be a really big deal here. I mean, it already is. Look at him, rooted out by Dark Binding there from Not Finny anymore.
Yeah, and when the Death Sentence misses, Thresh is kind of a sitting duck. The other concern, of course, is that Black Shield just denies everything Thresh wants to do. He doesn't really do enough damage with his abilities to get through that Black Shield and still get some CC down. Morgana drops a Black Shield. It's not going to really allow Thresh to do a whole lot at all. And Morgana can reactively Black Shield if she knows where that hook is going. That makes it very hard for Thresh to accomplish things. But there's always the diversions. You can always look one way, hook the other way. You can always catch Morgana by surprise. Black Shield also has a very long cooldown, so if you see it used, you can try and punish with a hook in the next 20 or 25 seconds.
Exactly. So it's not all said and done for Sad Lantern. He, of course, as Thresh usually do, has ways to make his way into some of these fights and scale up potentially and just be the Thresh that he needs to be.
Yeah, and the one other thing about being Thresh that you need to be is into Zac, Thresh is insanely good.
Oh, Mr. McCoss with the flag and drag over here onto Baby Rope Bunny. They take him low. First the flash out. Pretty good. And with that, I assume, as we've seen in the past, Mr. McCoss will be back mid lane some point.
Yeah, we've seen really good early game pressure out of Mr. McCoss in the series. It happened last game. We saw the flash burned, and then Mr. McCoss was there again. Punish that blown flash. With barrier and flash down, Xerath is very, very vulnerable. A Jarvan gank will guarantee a kill next time. I think that was a bit of a misplay for Baby Rope Bunny. If you just flash the EQ in the first place, you get to hold on to your barrier at least, and then you don't take quite as much damage.
Speaking of a Jarvan gank here, Mr. McCoss already in the bot lane. Going to be hit by the Dark Binding, though. She's not quite even able to hit his flag drag. The minions, though, blocking the Lantern. First blood going away so easily. Doki here teleporting in. Going to be hit by the target shot, taken incredibly low there. The passive is able to go down. Photography Raptor, don't know if he's going to be able to pick this one up. Rooktor and Not Finny anymore doing so well to space themselves out so they can't step up. Doki just barely to get out of that one.
All right, zero flash.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
Counterproductive teleport. Not doing a whole lot. That was also, I wanted to say it. It's kind of a little late now, but that was a Sad Lantern, you know?
Yeah, that was a really Sad Lantern. The minions just happened to be right there on top of it, and as a result, Ismaelis really couldn't get out. That was actually pretty much well secured for him, if not for just that little tiny incident. Ooh, Dark Binding there on Misfortune.
And
Sad Lantern.
Oh, there's the Black Shield.
There you go.
So sad. Oh, the cannon minion too. So sad. It's all scuffed. It's gone to heck.
It's gone to heck. That's a good way to put it. Either way, though, the pressure here from Rooktor and Not Finny anymore is going to start scaling up pretty dramatically if they continue to have this one here. Ooh, Baby Gumps with Mr. McCoss. He's back here. There's no flash available for Baby Rope Bunny. As a result, kill goes the way of Bubba Gumps.
Yep, and Mr. McCoss careful enough to make sure that kill goes over to the Rumble. It's the punish. You have a flashless Xerath, you gank the lane, you get a kill every time. There's no way Xerath survives a gank like that. The EQ lands, it's just death. So that's very good play by Mr. Mikos, punishing that blown summoner spell, making sure to try and get a lead. We see the kill on Tristana, but they answer back, keeping gold relatively even so far in the game. But Rawr definitely has an edge. Their bot lane is winning.
Yeah, Rawr definitely has the edge, like you said. The bot lane scaling up pretty dramatically. I love the movement, though, by Mr. McHoss, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to do something there again, especially once he comes online with Cataclysm. Actually, you know, if Rumble gets to the point where he's also doing well enough, he can come through, pull down the equalizer, and disrupt the whole team fight. Maybe not picking up Rookter due to the slipperiness of Tristana, but possibly not Finny anymore.
Yeah, the real power of this Jarvan Rumble combination will be when the two of them show up in bot lane together. Once there's the 4-man, you can dive that, and you can dive that easily. You drop the Cataclysm, you drop the Equalizer inside the Cataclysm, and that's just guaranteed damage. And it's a lot of guaranteed damage, and it's very hard to escape that. You can blow a flash on one gank, and then you'll get kills on the second. The Dragon's still up on that side of the map, still so early in the game. That's something you can look to do, is go get those flashes, take the dragon, then come back later and clean up those kills and the turret.
Mr. McHoss, they're going to be seen out by Feathers and Fear with that ward up in the side of that brush there. Gives a little bit of information to Doki and Rawr as a whole. Ooh, hook comes out from Sad Lantern as well as a slow from not Finny anymore. No Dark Binding response.
Yeah, Soul Lantern knows, or Soul Lantern, Sad Lantern. My bad. Sad Lantern knows if you go in, you're going to find a dark or a black shielded Morgana, your Flay's going to do nothing, and then you're going to be on top of her. And really sad because you've already used your hook and there's not a whole lot else you have to offer.
Ooh. I like the pressure. I like the pressure by Skelly P here. He's able to actually sustain up considerably, of course, because he is Vlad against Feathers and Fury here, and he's actually able to take so many minuscule little trades that they have stacked up to the point where Feathers and Fury is half health. He's trying to move forward. This fully charged Q, Doki for the win, forcing the flash so quickly out of Skelly P. You see Leap of Faith used in the process.
Interesting that he didn't choose to use the pool there. Pool is a really good answer to a Zac gank. It's almost impossible for Zac to do anything if Vladimir reacts just with a pool. Oh boy.
Not quite the Hex Flash that you want to see. The teleport, though, came through from Bubba Gumps. They both kind of just pull back off that one. No one quite was in a great spot to make an imperent gank.
Yeah, not Finny anymore. Actually blows the flash there. I'm not sure it was needed. It's going to leave.
Bubba Gumps.
Very... Oh,
he's actually able to just barely pick it up. Has to use the flash, though, with the auto. Pick that one up. You do see Xerath coming through with the ultimate, but it's not quite able to pick that one up. Rookter taken very low in the process. Has to be forced off this bot wave, giving some finally back over to Misfortune.
Yeah, and Mr. Mikos is in the area. Unfortunately, just a little too low from clearing the jungle. If that Jarvan was healthy and had mana, that might have been even more disastrous for Rawr, because that Jarvan would have been able to clean that fight up for sure. Instead, it's just going to be a 1-for-0. They commit the teleport. The Rumble does find the Morgana kill, not Finny anymore, blowing the flash early and then walking back in. No flash that time around. Bubblegum's taking advantage of that. That's a 2-0 Rumble. He's already got a bounty on his head. Up 14 CS in the mid lane. Gonna be trying to take over this.
Good hook there on Rookter. The bullet time is thrown out. We do see the jump as well as the barrier coming through from Rookter there. Good bit of safety to make sure he gets out of that one alive.
Yeah, that's a low Tristana and a very good combination from that Thresh and Misfortune. If Photography wrapped R just a split second earlier, that might have even been a kill. Unfortunately, Trist is able to barrier once out of the CC and then hop away, making sure that Rookter does not actually go down. And while that happens, Doki actually going to take the Rift Herald, and Mr. Mikos responds by looking towards the dragon.
At the end of the day, curious to see where Doki will put this. Dragon is all but secured for Mr. McHoss. I always like Doki's positioning on some of these Rift Heralds there. Good amount of pressure it does build up in the process. Scully P going to be hit through by the Leap of Faith there from Allow. Slowed to a halt now. Feathers and Fear following up there. Going to dodge out the Q, but the E! Feathers and Fear picking that one up there. Don't know if Pool is available. Now Rift Herald from Doki for the win. Going to come immediately on this turret. They could take this one pretty darn early.
Yeah, and Skelly P just holding ultimate for next game this time. Like, when the Alawi goes all in on you, your ultimate can heal you, it can provide some pressure. You gotta use it at some point. Like, your cooldowns I mean, having your abilities available is nice, but if you have no teleport, you're not really
The
going to use that skill for
equalizer.
anything lane.
Wow, just barely pressuring this Alawi off that turret. Just a smidge of health left.
Wow. Now Sad Lantern looking to make a play.
No,
Not going to
not
chase.
quite. Did force the jump, though, out. That's going to be down for a little bit there if you want to make more further rotations with your hook. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be much of an impact.
Not finning anymore, ganking the enemy's mid lane turret here.
Hey, he's doing great. Securing a lot of gold for his team.
Yeah, messing up that turret, getting some auto attacks down. Bubba Gump's in trouble. Doki gonna look.
Oh, Doki there, not hitting the elastic slingshot. You do have Dark Binding over the wall, as well as the blast going to save the day there for Bubba Gumps. Didn't have flash up in that process, so at least he had the plant to work with.
Yeah, Skelly P trying to hold on to this top.
Ooh, another elastic slingshot from Doki for the win there. Not anymore, not going to hit the binding, but now Let's Bounce doing some work. Soul Shackle's going to come down here as well as stun. Bullet time as a response, but not before Not anymore finally picks up Bubblegums. You see Cataclysm in this back, picking up Not anymore as well as a good hook onto Baby Rope Bunny. Finishing that one out. The barrier, no, not quite. Going to go the way of Mr. McHoss, but Skelly P over in the top side though. Another 1v1 Feathers and Fur taking that one as well.
And all the while, Rook George just saying, hey, you know, my team might be dying mid lane, but I'm gonna take some plates. I like plates. Plates are good. Plates are fun. Plates give me money.
Yeah, plates give me money. Money gives me damage.
Yeah,
damage gives me a game.
Already skewing in favor of Rawr.
Wow, what a good flay hook there from Sad Lantern. He did so much damage just alone.
Yeah, throwing the lantern as well, the bait that a teammate might be coming to try and scare Rookdor. Of course, when the lantern expires and no one has taken it yet, Rookdor knows this Thresh is alone. Sad Lantern just going to hold this turret 1v1 anyway. Gotta admire the Thresh chutzpah. That's what that is.
You gotta have it. You have Photography Raptor trying to chase this one out, but not Finny anymore. Has made herself apparent in the bot lane. Does not want to take that fight.
Oh boy.
Stacked Q shots after a death of a minion. Now that hurts.
Yeah, and that Morgana does not have any armor yet. Went right for the Ardent Sensor. Not really the ideal Morgana build, I gotta be honest. The Black Shield just on a really long cooldown, not fully able to take advantage of that itemization option. You'd love to see something like a Zanya's picked up instead. Or at least a Redemption. But, in any case, that's a squishy Morgana.
Ooh, Mr. McCoss over the wall with the flagging jug. You see the equalizer go down, but Baby Rope Bunny is already so far back in the turret, there's no additional follow-up.
Yeah, and Cataclysm just not quite available yet. Gonna be available.
Ooh, Dark Binding. Ooh, the Dark Binding paired with the last slingshot, forcing that flash out of Mr. McCoss.
Cataclysm now available. This Morgana is playing a dangerous game. Does have flashback up finally, so going to be able to flash out of the Cataclysm if it drops. Ooh. Close.
Either way, both teams just generally pressuring right around this mid lane here, giving a lot of extra leeway. Finally gonna see them start rotating back bot lane. Not Vinny anymore though, he's still chilling there.
Not sure why everyone's playing around mid lane right now. I mean, it is the Nayram. We gotta have one of those at least every game. Like, Dragon's not up for another minute. This is a little early to be posturing for it. Seems as if people just like showing up. You know?
Show up, blow up. Anyways, Pleasant Fur doing so much here on the top side. Already got that first turret, as you saw with the combination from Rift Herald, doing so well to pair with Doki there, but pressuring Skelly P just continuously.
Yeah, and we were curious if there was going to be a third counter pick out of Skelly P for this Alawi. I think this time we can say safely the
elastic slingshot onto Sad Lantern, and a teleport gonna come through as the bullet time and the box do so much to pressure off the side of Rawr here. Not Finny anymore, trying to make the escape now. Are the right of the Arcane not doing enough there? Just a simple auto attack secures the kill for Photography Raptor. Bubba Gumps in the process taking out Rookter on his own with this Rumble. Turns his attention to Baby Ropes. The elastic slingshot comes through as well as Let's Bounce. The equalizer is down. You do see the stopwatch come through, but Baby Ropes Bunny is taken out as a result from Bubba Gumps. He's still making his way for the chase on a Doki for the win. He's not quite taken out just yet. There it is. The passive finally making its way through, and that is a surefire but dead Zack. Going the way of Mr. McCoss, actually. I saw that. I saw the little auto attack.
They were taking so much care and time. They wanted to make sure the kill went on the possible. They let the Zac walk a little longer. They slowed it down, and then Mr. Ross says, screw it, I'm going to auto-attack this last blob.
Whatever, I got it. I do so many ganks, I deserve a little bit of extra gold.
Yeah, gold on Jarvan isn't really that bad. It allows him to get towards a Gargoyle or a Cleaver. I'm not sure what Mr. McCaw's building. Gargoyle would be the meta build. We see a Ruby Crystal, which indicates that it's probably not that, but Jarvan does okay with gold, and it's still a kill. A kill's a kill, a dragon's a dragon. Dirty Diet Lizard, they have something going for them there. That fight was huge for them. It was looking like Alawi was poised to start taking over the game through top lane pressure. Instead, we see a big win for Dirty Diet Lizard, and they start taking the game back.
Yeah, a lot of good gold shuffled around, especially on this Rumble here. That's going to be devastating in team fights, especially if you pair it through with the Cataclysm. Oh, good shot there from Photography. Raptor getting on, not Finny anymore. Here, see if they're willing to follow that up at any point.
Yeah, it looks like Rawr is actually taking the second Rift Herald right now. There's no answer from Dirty Diet Lizard. There's an Alawi in the area. She has a completed Cleaver. She is terrifying.
Yeah, they decide not today. Leap of Faith coming out there pretty quickly. Rift going the way of Rawr. So additionally, oops, Sad Lantern there with the Flay. We do see the Black Shield come down, so he cannot hook it. The bomb, though, from Rookter is so huge, but he's under turret. Photography Raptor picks that one up so easily. Gonna hit by the Dark Binding. No follow-up on Not Finny anymore. But what a shame. So aggressive and greedy.
Yeah, and I mean, you get the kill, but you give the kill right back to the Misfortune, and she gets to stay alive to farm, so you're giving up pressure. I mean, there's just no, like, that's a risky play, and there's just no way that ends in anything other than a 1-for-1 at best. And it could, if it backfires, lead to the death of the Morgana as well.
Oh, man. Another Rift Herald up here in the top side. Doki and Feathers and Fur doing so well. We do see the Q drag with the Cataclysm onto Doki for the win almost immediately. Bubblegum's going to be the one to pick this one up this time. Coming back around.
No issue donating the kill that time. They do have to lose a turret for it, though. That's probably a pretty valuable trade. I'm not sure Doki really needed to die there, but, you know, if you take it on the whole, grabbing a Herald, dropping it, taking a turret, and giving up one kill, completely worth it.
Speaking of giving things up, yeah, not Finny anymore, picking up another turret for the side of Rawr here in the bot lane, completely uncontested.
This Morgana doing some serious structure damage to the team. Not something you ordinarily see out of a support Morgana, but, I mean, it's working. That's a whole ass turret.
Hey, whether it be the mid lane, whether it be the bot lane, you've got not Finny anymore always being your support. That's what they're supposed to do. Skelly P and Mr. McCoss looking for something onto Feathers and Fury. You do see the flag drag, but no knockup. Pull comes out pretty early from Skelly P. You see the dash on there. There's no turret to protect them need be. Hex Tech, Protobelt, nothing coming out of this very well. They actually just have to really back off this one. Even though it's a 2v1, you still don't want to take that into an Alawi.
Yeah, and I think they were trying to capitalize on the Leap of Faith cooldown. Little did they know, it was actually available there, and Feathers and Fur just didn't actually find a window to use it. You always want to be cautious ganking an Alawi when Leap of Faith is available, because that's a really good way to give that Alawi 2 kills.
Ooh, Hemo play coming out there, getting a little bit of Heath. You do have Leap of Faith, like you said. You're going to pair through there. I do believe Vladimir is going to be able to survive this one out. Now Mr. McCoss gets the knockup finally. Oh, bot lane Doki for the win right here on top of Photography. Rookter super low. The turnaround with bullet time. They weren't able actually to pick him up. As a result, Doki went down so quickly. Hook there for Sad.
I mean, it was the right idea. I asked Doki, what are you doing? I didn't realize that Photography Raptor was alone. Diving a solo Misfortune is normally a good idea. It's just it didn't work that time.
They just
hold on the left
kill her.
bounce, knocked Photography Raptor away. The Buster Shot did the same thing. They ended up launching this Misfortune to safety. She says, oh, now that I'm in safety, I'm just going to go ahead and press R and kill one of you. Sometimes it do be that way.
Sometimes it be what it be. Either way, Dragon going to make its way onto the Rift here apparently any second now. The scaling with Infernal is going to make or break this game, especially since both teams are so keen on fighting right now.
Yeah, and the thing to look out, again, it was like last game. This Feathers and Fur on this Alawi is going to be Rawr's win condition. They're actually up in gold despite being down 6 kills. And it's because they've just taken so many structures. They've got 2 top turrets and a bot turret. They're up 3 turrets to 0. They're going to need to maintain this lead. Something to look out for when you're down in kills but up in gold is that there's a lot of static gold on the map. And as long as you keep winning, you'll maintain your gold lead. But you lose one fight, you drop a few turrets, and that one fight swings things super because then they make that turret bolt right back
Ooh,
up.
Sad Lantern right into the Black Shield with that hook there. The box not doing too much work. You have Leap of Faith coming out pretty early there. Sad Lantern incredibly low. They turn their attention. Teleport comes through from Bubba Gumps there, but not before Featherford gets the tentacle kill there. Doki now with the Elastic Slingshot. He's able to get in the backline as Bubba Gumps takes out, not anymore, but Rookter over the wall with the jump immediately onto Bubba Gumps. The shield comes through to do a little bit of protection, but Featherford goes down very quickly, but Rookter with the explosive damage returned so quickly with that double.
Yeah, and Doki actually has passive up for that fight, so that they do melt the Zax's health bar. He's able to survive, and he comes back up, and he's alive to take this dragon. It was a decent idea by Dirty Diet Lizard, but they're just not able to pull these fights. Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I'm not quite on that bullet time there. Very close.
The Leap of Faith just doing so much work in every fight. We also saw a bit of a misfire from Skelly P on the Hemo Plague. I believe I saw a one-man Hemo Plague onto the Morgana, and she died before it even procced. You really want to be using that spell on more than one target. Skelly P gonna need to try and find a better ult in the next team fight. That might have been able to turn the tide of that fight if it just held onto it, use it on the Tristana or on the Zac or on someone who was going to survive a little bit longer.
Either way, both these teams starting to stack up pretty evenly, but Rawr finally taking the cake for themselves. You still have to worry about targets like Bubblegum and Photography Raptor, one who has actually not gone down yet at all.
Yeah, these two have played very well in this series. It's kind of been a tale of a divided map where Rawr's top lane is a big win condition for them, and Dirty Diet Lizard plays through mid and bot a lot. The Cassiopeia in game 1, the Xayah in both games 1 and 2. They've been putting in work. They're going to try and do more. The question is, can they deal with this aloud? With the GA completed, such a
done. Sad Lantern there, going to miss the hook. Equalizer comes out pretty early. Baby Rope Bunny taken very low as a result from the additional burn damage. They're looking to chase. The stun comes out again on Sad Lantern as well as a flash. Rookter now turns around there. Dark Bunny going to hit the Thresh in the process as Rookter gets blown up. Sad Lantern immediately turned onto as you see the jump come through from Rookter for a double kill in the backline. Doki with the less bounce. You have to force the flash now out of Photography Raptor. Coming through with the bullet time though to return onto Doki for the win. It's going to be a 2-1 pickup here for Rawr.
That's just a bit of an overchase for Dirty Diet Lizard. They really wanted the kill, but the Xerath is able to flash away, and then it's not really there anymore. As soon as Not Finny anymore shows up with the Black Shield to guarantee their safety, it's a really hard to convert. And Rawr able to punish that overextension, the Rumble getting poked down very low. Kiting from Xerath is super powerful and potent. Chasing down a Xerath while he fires Arcane Mirage, just everything at you, getting the stuns, the
whole side of Dirty Diet. Not quite there. Mr. McCoss coming through with the flagging drag. Gonna get slowed by Baby Rope Bunny, but he turns immediately onto him and says Cataclysm. Photography Raptor gonna pick that one up. Now he turns his attention to Rookter. Goes the way of Mr. McCoss this time, but a little too far forward if you are Rawr. They're not really respecting the lack of windows you have.
Yeah, that's an overextension from Rawr right back. They say, hey, you overextended chasing us, we'll overextend trying to take your turret. The Tristana leaps out, but then she doesn't have that rocket jump anymore, so when Mr. McCoss uses his gap closer and chases that Tristana down, it's going to be a death. The one unfortunate thing is that at 23-24 minutes, when you get a couple kills onto the enemy's mid laner and AD carry, you usually want to convert it into an objective. In this case, that's going to be pretty tough because that's just so close to Dirty Diet Lizard's base. They've got to go far out.
Elastic Slingshot and Let's Bounce pushing Mr. McCoss in base. Uses a good flag and drag to get out. He comes through from Feather and Zephyr. Bullet time going to be pushed out pretty early there. Zephyr taken very low in the process. Not Finny Gamer. Absolutely blown up as she walks into that Equalizer.
So another pick comes down, meaning maybe they can look at finally getting this mid turret, start getting some of that static gold on the map that we were talking about. You really want to try and get objectives off these kills. With Alawi forced back to base, Morgana forced back to gray screen. There's a little bit less pressure, but here comes a teleport.
Ooh, Zac doing pretty well there. He's able to get the pullback onto Photography Raptor. The knockup comes through as a good flag and drag from Feathers and Fur. You do see Leap of Faith coming down, but it's not on anyone specifically, only the Spirit there. Just forces a good disengagement out of Dirty Diet Lizard so they can't get the static gold that you were just discussing.
They still have no turrets. They have 17 kills and no turrets. You need to try and get turrets off these kills. It's the way to win. You gotta take the enemy space to win the game, you know? Just take the Nexus, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's how
also,
you win. You you take the Nexus.
if you have 100 kills, but you don't have the
Ooh,
Nexus,
Doki for the win. Goes for the steal, doesn't quite hit it there. Now he's going to be caught out by the entire side of Rawr. Rookter picking that one up for himself, giving more additional go to this Tristana. Oh, Feathers and Fur and Skelly fighting this one out. You see the blast come through, but Skelly is so low already. Hemo Plague so late if you want to take that fight. Now with 2 members down, Baron is all but secured for Rawr.
Yeah, especially with Rumble and Base and the misfortune and Thresh where they are. Skelly P just losing a fight, taking a losing fight.
Why fight it?
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna fight it, like at least leave with the Hemo Plague and get the increased damage that you can try and do something. And Mr. McCoss also just getting a little greedy, wanting to contest that blue buff, but at what cost is the question you have to ask. The answer is Baron. The cost is Baron. And now Rawr is in control of this game.
Ooh, Photography Raptor spotting out not fitting anymore pretty quickly there. Rookter going to go over the wall and punish immediately. Hook comes through back onto Rookter. Their equalizer's put down as not fitting anymore. Gets dilled as well as Rookter. A good positioning on the equalizer there.
That's a 2-for-1. They lose Baron and they just say, okay, we'll kill you and then we'll take the dragon. That's at least the idea for a Great Diet Lizard. I think they can do this as soon as Vladimir gets here. His Hemo Plague should be up in short order. He's going to be a big presence in the 3-on-4.
Bubba Gump's pretty far back now, actually, out of position there. You've got Feathers and Fur and Doki out of the way there. You see Mr. McCoss going to the backline as Let's Bounce comes out from the Zac there. Feathers and Fur forcing the flash finally out of Bubba, but not before Skelly P chasing down Baby Rope Bunny so aggressively.
Here comes the Vladimir. The scaling has arrived. Xerath hopeless to do anything into that Vladimir.
Ooh, speaking of Vladimir, use that pull to get out of Feathers and Fur. Still going to be hit by E. Elastic Slingshot just barely missing there. Doki doesn't have anything to string that Q to. Mr. McCoss gets the knockup, but there's no real pairing through there. But with Photography Raptor top and everyone low from that team fight, this dragon actually goes the way of Rawr.
Yeah, I think after getting those kills, they likely could have tried to force that dragon. They chose not to. I think it was out of respect, and it's not a terrible call. The issue is that...
More damage.
Yeah, Rawr's stacking these Infernal Dragons. They don't give a huge percent, but when you get 4, it starts to add up. 16% is nothing to scoff at, especially when you have an 8 kills Tristana. Been kind of a little under the radar here. The Alawi been generating most of the pressure, but Ruktor quietly been picking up kills already on 3.5 items. The Last Whisper is in to shred through these tanks. Infinity Edge, Hand Dancer, Runans is a lot of damage.
Ruktor and Doki launching forward, forcing an immediate flash out of Photography Raptor there. Very good play. They're going to aggress directly onto this bot lane and have no one from the side of Dirty Diet Lizard is able to respond quickly.
Yeah, that's a hard inhibitor to defend when you've given up there, and I think it's the right call to give, especially when you have no turret. You want to focus on trying to hold on to your mid and top lanes.
Ooh, Leap of Faith coming through from Feathers and Fur. Bubblegum taking low incredibly. You have the equalizer put down, but not for Feathers. Finally finishes that one off. You have Dark Binding in the backline. You're going to see Bullet Time come through, but not for Doki. So deep there with the Let's Bounce. Finishes off. Skelly P going back. The Buster Shot not going to stop him as he takes out Ruktor there. And now Mr. McCoss and Skelly P, the only ones to defend the base as a whole right now. Going to get eaten through by Feathers and Fur. Forced to really back off this one, and that is all but almost a free in him. Ooh, Dark Binding there on Skelly P. Uses the pull to avoid some of that damage there. Still going to be hit pretty hard. Baby Rope!
Skelly, no!
Goes the way of Feathers and Fur there. Little too aggressive. Did not need to be that far forward.
Oh, the binding wears off, and Skelly says, oh, I have 400 HP. I will walk. I admire the bravery. I admire the courage and the boldness, but sometimes you just gotta turn around and go back to Fountain and heal up.
At that point, the inhib's yours, you know.
Yeah, Skelly did a clutch thing in that fight, took out Ruktor, dove through the backline, and made that Tristana die. That saves the game for the moment. Tristana would have been able to push fast enough to likely end with the kills that Rawr got. Instead, with Tristed, it's only going to be a second inhibitor, but it's a matter of time now. Rawr finally pulling out to a lead. It's still only a 4K gold lead, but it's definitely a massive pressure lead now with all of these turrets taken down. 8 turrets to 0 in favor of Rawr. They're still down in kills, but they are slowly and steadily closing out this game.
Yeah, Rawr this time, games 1 and 2, uh, Dirty Diet Lizard had such good control over the objectives. They picked up almost every Drake, got Soul, even were able to kind of secure Elder at the very end of game 2. But this game, it's been quite a mix-up, and Doki coming onto the scene has completely accelerated that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also just been a matter of the solo lane top doing so much more work. Alawi in these first 2 games was strong, but not I'm going to solo kill you 3 times in a row strong. This game, Feathers and Fur, I think, picked up 2 different solo kills, picked up that first turret, picked up another turret solo, got a little less help and a little more results. The Vladimir not quite
Ooh,
working.
Death Bush here. They're going to launch it directly onto it with the hook. Bubblegum's taking out not Finny anymore, but they're not respecting the leap of faith and its extra damage with the additional targets there. Hook comes through from Sadlander as well as the Flame, but the rest of Rawr has arrived. Feathers Fur picking up the Bubblegum as he turns to Sadlander there. Another hook comes through. You have a little bit of positioning from Photography Raptor. Gets the GA, but the right of the Arcane doing so much work there. Not quite going to hit, but Doki pressuring out now. Skelly P in his backside, tries to slow them with the pull, gets the full charge Q, the launch from the elastic slingshot into the turn from Doki for the win. The passive's gonna break. Skelly's incredibly low. He's able to heal up just a little bit, but Rookter is here on the Nexus so early. He isn't even participating in this fight. Skelly P goes down as well. The Nexus is ticking forward, and Rawr once again all the way into game 3, turn it around for themselves in a reverse sweep fashion over Dirty Diet Lizard and finish the series with a win.
Don't death rush a GA Alawi. It's never going to work. Like, never. Ever. It's that's I liked the idea. They got the pick on the Morgana. Death rush is a good way to get a pick, surprise your opponent. The issue is that that's basically like if an Alawi finds a death and she has GA up, it's like walking into a candy store. You see, oh hey, there's 4 people here. Let me just kill all of you. And then well played by Rawr. They were really clean in that one. Gave up some kills, but they made sure to defend their structures and played the pressure game, taking all of those turrets, all those inhibitors, giving up none of their own. They still end the game down 1 kill, but they do get the Nexus. And that's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
It's not the kills that matter. It's the Nexus take.
Yeah, and with that, these two teams definitely proven themselves. Rawr still goes undefeated into week 8 here, completely destroying everyone in their path. Dirty Diet Lizard did so well, in my personal opinion. But with that, this series has finally come to an end. We thank you all for tuning into our Rampage pre-made week 7 battle against Dirty Diet Lizard versus Rawr. We always enjoy all of viewership and support. But with that, we wish you all a good night.